Okay, let's begin. So welcome to the show Eat with the Owner.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I guess today will be episode 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 40. That's a good number.
Oh yeah, 40, but not for my age. I think I'm still young. I'm still 30. So
yeah. And what's your name?
My name is Ken Dujour.
How to spell your last name?
Dujour.
Dujour. That's very French.
That's very French, but I also have like a Mandarin name, Chinese name.
What's your Mandarin name?
It's Du Kang.
Du Kang. Yeah. Du Kang. Why do you choose that two words? Du is family name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Family name Du.
Yeah, and Kang is like
close.
Healthy. Yeah, it's closer to my like more European name. Okay. The reason why I didn't choose this name is like my Mandarin teacher that gave it to me because I took some private classes. Okay. She said like if I would like to have a name, I said yes, I would like to have a name because you can't really take my name and translate it in Mandarin.
I guess Du Kang it's a kind of brand name for Chinese liquor.
Yeah, exactly.
You're aware of that?
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
But also, apparently, it's also part of a poem. Also.
Yeah, it's a part of.
Okay.
That's why the name of the brand is kind of famous, popular because of it's part of the poem.
Okay. I should read the poem maybe, but I like this name, and every time I meet like someone who's like Chinese native, and I just tell you can call me by this name, or if you prefer by my Western name.
So the Ken is K-E-N, right?
Yeah, K-E-N.
Okay, great. To save some time, we can start ordering.
I'll let you choose whatever.
No, it's better to you.
It's better.
Yeah, it's like all you can eat, so you can choose several. You know.
Oh, okay.
So something you like, you don't have to pay anything. So the risk free. Just try out some stuff you maybe haven't ordered before.
Okay. So do you usually order like appetizers or?
It's up to you, totally up to you. Some people don't, some people they.
Okay.
It's also, for me, it's a good chance for me to see what's the food like as well. Okay. Once in a while I eat all the regular customers as well to see how it's going.
Oh, okay. My teacher, which his name is David T. His name is Dawei Lao Xu.
Okay.
He said that this place is very special, and I want to try something that I've never really tried.
Yeah, that's exactly what we should do.
I like very spicy, like very, very spicy. So I don't know which like spicy things I could take. Maybe
you can take spicy diced chicken, the chicken section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Spicy diced chicken, but it has bones, very dry, like this.
It's like 辣鸡.
Yeah, 辣子鸡. Yeah,
okay.
Seriously, it's 辣子鸡.
Okay.
Or another is mapo tofu, very spicy.
Mapo
tofu is spicy.
Mapo tofu, yeah.
Or the fish in chili oil, poached fish in chili oil.
Okay.
That's like 水煮鱼. Yeah, that one is spicy.
Okay.
Or the Sichuan spicy pot.
Yeah, I guess the 麻辣香锅.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So maybe some vegetable on the side.
Eggplant, yeah, 地三鲜 eggplant potato.
I guess it comes with the rice on the side, right?
The rice will always order extra.
Oh, okay.
But it's free anyway.
Oh, yeah, I take some rice.
Exactly.
Yeah. And are we allowed to drink?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's, what do you want to drink? There's the sake, and we can drink sake if you like, and the beer is Portuguese beer called Super Bock.
Oh, okay.
It's not Qingdao anymore. Qingdao, kind of during the pandemic, it's kind of on and off. Sometimes the supply was not stable.
Okay. I think I could drink a Super Bock.
Super Bock, okay.
And I think I'll be okay for now.
Okay. Only two dishes?
Well.
You can try the braised pork belly if you like. Braised pork belly.
Yeah. I'll try that.
Okay. Okay, that should be it, right?
Yeah, that's right. And maybe an appetizer. Like
Appetizer you want edamame or the salad, or the tofu skin salad?
maybe this one is tofu skin salad.
Okay. Okay, great. That's amazing. So I will go downstairs for a quick, and then the camera will stay on,
Okay.
and I don't cut it off.
Okay.
So whatever you say will be in the camera, with the video. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Still going on. Okay, then let's talk.
All right.
Basically, it's like this Eat with Owner is like about stories.
Yeah, stories. Yeah.
Where's my pen? Oh, my pen. Anyway, so what is your story? Like you were born here, or born where?
Okay. My story is I was born overseas in Haiti. Haidi.
Haidi.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was born. My father was already a Canadian citizen.
Okay.
He was already married, got divorced later on, and then rebuilt his life afterwards. And this is where I come from.
Okay.
I came here. I was very little. I was like maybe like 6 to 7 months.
Okay.
So I'm pretty much like grew up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even Haiti, right? The people there speak French as well, I think.
Yeah, they speak French. Yeah. They because the language is because Haiti used to be an ex-colony of the French Empire, and then there was a revolution, and then most of the people over there, they were like slaves, and then there was a revolution, and then past this, it became an independent country. But the country still suffers from some problems.
Even the prince, right? Is that the Port-au-Prince or something?
Yeah, Port-au-Prince, the president has been assassinated.
Oh yeah, even before had a big tsunami or something, right?
Exactly.
Destroyed the whole
the whole capital, even the parliament where people like vote laws and everything. So the country is a beautiful country, but it has unlucky events.
Even the assassination is pretty questionable, right? They said it's a mercenary something, right?
Yeah, exactly. So haven't never been to Haiti yet.
Really? Okay. After you growing up like here, you never?
No. My mother did go, but I never had the chance. So all my experience with communicating with different communities, friends, comes from Quebec, Montreal.
Okay.
So I grew up here. I went to school here. At some point, I was like the only black person in my class with like.
What year you were born?
1992.
1990. So you are 30 years.
Yeah,
now.
30 years.
So that time was still the race issue is still a little bit tense, or like 90s. So when you grew up, like
not really. It was like we were passed over that.
Okay.
So thankfully, like because the people from the generation past previous me, they kind of paved the way for better communication within communities. And I mean, I didn't have to live within the 70s and the 80s problem. So thankfully,
90s pretty much already very people different races already multicultural already.
Yeah, the mentality is different. And that's my story. And then I grew up here, went to school here. I did my high school, Cegep. I'm finishing. I went back to school again to do a bachelor. Because I wanted to reorient my life in terms of professional experience. And then
after Cegep, you did not go to it.
No, because you don't need to. Because
Cegep, you took like 2 years or something.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Cegep. Oh yeah, 3 years Cegep.
Yeah,
so it's a college degree.
Yeah, exactly. Because you could do a pre-university or technical program to get in the job market.
Okay.
So that's what I did, but I didn't like the job opportunities.
What did you do for the?
I did administration. So business administration. Yeah.
Business administration.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like HR part? No, not HR.
Well, and Cegep, it's more like it's more technical. You can be like an administrative agent, but you cannot do like finance jobs or you can do accounting. But I took like administrative like positions in different companies based on my previous studies. Right now with my bachelor, I can do I'm more flexible because I can access to graduate studies.
But you got your bachelor degree already, or is working on it?
I'm done this semester.
Okay, great. Yeah. In where?
University of Quebec in Montreal.
Okay. Yeah. UQAM.
Yeah, UQAM, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a good university.
But it's a great one. But it's in French, right?
Yeah, it's
in French.
Yeah,
is that accounting or something?
It's public management.
That's even bigger. Public management.
Because you can work in ONGs.
And the government.
Government, exactly, and like the UN, United Nations, so everything that is like governmental organization, but also private sectors also.
Okay.
Yeah.
The PR department. Also.
Yeah, exactly. And I also learned throughout my bachelor, I learned Mandarin also. I took, I think, 4 Mandarin class in my bachelor. So I have an okay level,
but with the bachelor degree, how many years you have to do? Like because you have have your college already, so you don't have to do the 4 years.
No,
right?
no, it's just 3 years.
3 years.
So I did it in 3 years.
Okay.
Some people can do it in 2 because they did it. They have some courses that are being recognized because sometimes there's partnership between the Cegep and the university to recognize the classes.
That's amazing. So, but like I was told obviously you are the Quebec citizen, right? Or the residents, right?
Yeah.
Resident of Quebec. So I was told the tuition fee is very low.
Very, very low, exactly. Yeah, very low. Well, the lowest in Canada, actually. Yeah.
Like for the UQAM, like how much, like each year or each semester, how much do you pay? 1,000?
Less than 3,000, I'd say.
Semester or year?
Per semester.
Semester.
Well, it includes all the additional fees. Okay. Without the additional fees, I would say it's 300 per classes. So 5 classes, 1,500.
1,500. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
And then after the additional fees, like technological fees, the gym fees, and the student association, student union fees, it comes up to close to.
But you can also deduct this from the tax.
Yeah, exactly. You get a 8% or 10% non-refundable tax credit.
Yeah, it's amazing. So Quebec is good for universities.
Yeah, a lot of international students, a lot of people from different countries, Indians, Chinese.
But they pay a lot. They pay a lot.
Yeah, it's true. They pay a lot. Yeah. But once you have your PR, the fees comes down to be very, very low.
It's like PR is resident, right?
Yeah,
you are the permanent resident. Doesn't matter permanent resident or citizen, right?
Yeah,
it's the same.
It's the same in terms for studying in Quebec. And the value of the diplomation, when you get your diplomation, the value of the diploma is being recognized across the world. And Canada is one of the best universities in the world.
UQAM is pretty big. There's a whole station called Paris UQAM. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's very big. And then the thing with
I like the bibliothèque, the grand library.
It's very.
That's like crazy huge.
Oh yeah. I didn't really have the chance to go there like during my time studying at UQAM. I remember I used to go there when I used to be in Cegep very often. But since I am in UQAM, we have a library inside, and the tools are pretty easy to use. I didn't really have the chance to go to the biggest library, which is just beside. But yes, I do like
that one. I just went once. I even had a kind of a registered card, but it's amazing, so big. And a lot of people are studying there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's an amazing thing. I came from China 70 years ago. So here, like I live in West Side, small city. Every city, doesn't matter how small it is, it has a good library.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, that's amazing. People, especially in the winter or the summer when it's hot, long winter and the cold, a lot of people you have the computer with internet access.
Okay.
So people either doing studies or even like rest. Some people even rest there. They have sofa, they have everything.
Yeah.
And you read books, and it's really amazing system. Thank you. So that's the Chenjiang, the tofu skin salad.
Tofu skin salad.
Oh. So how do you like the? You mentioned you just started learning Chinese when you were doing the bachelor degree.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's only 3-4 years ago.
I would say 1.5 years. So I started in summer 2021.
Seriously, your level is pretty good at the beginning. Like when you came in, like.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, pretty good. Oh, pretty good. Oh, that's a big one.
I still have to improve the level, but I think it's getting there. As the more I speak with native speaker, the more I exchange outside cultural knowledge.
Okay.
I think I can get to a level where I can. Really
what motivated you to learn Mandarin?
Okay, that story is very interesting.
And so it's like when you are 28 years old, suddenly I want to learn Chinese.
Oh, and then we have to go back when I was younger. Then this is a very good story. I like this story because when I was younger, I liked watching movies. Like it sounds funny, but I do like the movies like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and all those Asian American actors or just Chinese actors.
The Rush Hour.
Exactly. So
that one is so good.
Oh yeah, it's so good. And there's a story behind Rush Hour that Chris Tucker was not supposed to do it, but that's another story. But I really liked watching those movies, and it kind of like that's my first interaction with the Chinese culture, and then at a certain point, I diverged to something else. I was watching some animes, and I had like a little love for the Japanese language because those cultures are very rich in terms of history. Because the history goes back to 5,000 years, even so for China.
But did you learn Japanese because of animation?
No, I didn't learn Japanese. I know some couple words, but I didn't learn Japanese seriously like I did in school. I would say Mandarin is the language that I really took seriously. Okay. When I registered for the Mandarin class, I was supposed to register for the Japanese class, but I chose Mandarin instead because I didn't know that UQAM had a Mandarin class at the university. So I said I'm gonna try it, see if I like it, and I actually did like it because my professor kind of encouraged me to take another one. I said, okay, I'm gonna take another one. And then between the time I took the first class and the second class, I said, I'm the type of person who, when I start something, I want to finish it. So I said, what's the point of learning a language, which is a language that is recognized and the United Nations as a working language. When you go to the United Nations, there's 5 languages that are being recognized. So you can submit your papers in Mandarin, Russian, French, English, and I think Arabic. Yeah, Arabic. So I said, I'll learn the full language. If I need, I'll do the HSK4/5 and be a full speaker. So that's the reason why I chose Mandarin over Japanese because there's business opportunity, there's opportunities to work in the field of government to better relations between the 2 countries. You can go there and make business, work in trade exchanges between different countries. So there's a lot of opportunity, I think, with the language. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we have another. Oh yeah, we have the map. So that's amazing. It's very difficult. A lot of people, if you I know in Montreal, like we have people from all over the world, right? Like sometimes, like you see people talking to me. I'm the restaurant owner, so some customers talk to me. A lot of people interested in learning Mandarin, Chinese, but when they first time seeing it, or like they're gonna say no, it's too difficult. It's totally.
I don't. Every time I tell someone you should start learning, they tell me that it's too difficult. When the first time you learn mathematics, it's difficult at the beginning because you're learning a new concept, how to divide, how to make additions, how to factorize like fraction, or to expand different types of like formulas. Thank you. You're having one, right?
No, I choose not. I'm a little bit.
Oh, okay. Then I want to cheer. Come back.
Come in.
Wait. We're supposed to cheer like this.
Yeah.
Why? You should all bad.
I'm not. I've been living in Montreal for 17 years. I'm not very Chinese anymore, I guess.
Okay. That's the cultural thing that I learned. But it's not that difficult. It's just the first class. It was difficult because you're learning the tones, you're learning the small words, and then it sounds ridiculous, but you're learning how to make the simple things that when you learn mathematics. And then the more, when you understand the first class, the first concept of the language, then you can advance and to further expand your learning in the language. That's what I think. That's why I think it's not that difficult.
I've been self-learning French for like 12, 13 years, I guess, but it's still very basic. But today's conversation just gave me a inspiration. Actually, before you came, this morning I started watching YouTube to learn French. It's called Learn French with Alexa. Alexa. Yeah, Alexa. She's pretty big. The Alexa.
That's the tool to.
No, it's not. It's not the Amazon tool.
Oh, okay.
Amazon like a speech assistant.
Oh, okay.
It's like a YouTube channel. This lady is French, but she's teaching English in London, and it's very professional. It's a very professional YouTube channel. I was searching on the YouTube this morning. Because I spent a lot of time self-learning before, but I gave up like at the basic level because it's way too complicated, complex. So I gave up a lot of time. This morning I said, when I'm doing something, since I'm on the headphones, I probably am gonna listen to more French. So I searched on the YouTube. This Learn French with Alexa is pretty good. She's amazing. She's professional with the headphones and microphone. Very professional.
Maybe you should give me some tips how to improve my Mandarin.
I will. Yeah. After that, probably. Yeah.
Right now, what I'm using is I listen to some videos. Like there's an app called Bilibili.
Bilibili is the video platform, like YouTube.
Like YouTube, exactly. There's funny stuff, or unfortunately, we don't have access to Douyin here. It's the TikTok here.
Yeah, TikTok, Chinese version, the original version of TikTok. But it's pretty fast. You learn 1.5 years, and the level you have is amazing.
My goal, I wanted to be the first time when I met my tutor, and in summer 2021, I said, right after I finished my university class from learning Mandarin, because that was a private tutor, I told her I want to learn Mandarin and 1 year and be a full speaker. She said it's possible, but you have to practice every day, 5 hours a day. That was a little undoable. Because and 5 hours a day every day, that's a lot. I think you have to take the time because at the same time, I live in a place where interaction is a little hard with the native speaker. Even though Montreal has a lot of a native speaker, but sometimes it can be hard to organize and arrange time to meet them and to practice.
I guess later on you can stay in the restaurant every day, right? So you have a chance to talk to a lot of native Chinese speakers.
They come pretty often here.
So I have a lot of Chinese customers.
That's eggplant and
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, eggplant, potato, bell pepper. It's very popular. This dish in China is a very famous one, 地三鲜. It's very popular dish. Almost like everybody knows the name.
And tell me, where does this dish come from? What city?
With this one,
Yeah.
Spicy Sichuan pork.
Yeah.
Sichuan spicy. It must be, the name comes with Sichuan. I guess it must be Sichuan.
Okay.
This one is recently, I guess it's about 10 years ago, like getting popular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like 10 some years, because I guess people just throw everything together with the spicy and also Sichuan peppercorn. So make it like the Sichuan style is the peppercorn.
And this is how do we say pepper, 辣椒.
Yeah, 红辣椒
红辣椒.
or 干辣椒 dry.
Oh, okay.
Or you say the reverse there, 辣椒干, 干辣椒.
辣椒干.
辣椒干, 干辣椒, 干 dry, right?
Oh, okay.
干辣椒, you put
干
it,
辣椒.
yeah. Oh, 辣椒干. You put it,
辣椒干.
yeah, you put the dry in front or the back, it's fine.
Oh, okay. And this is like the kan辣椒, right?
Yeah.
So can you is it really spicy?
Normally you don't eat it directly, so just for the flavor.
Oh, okay. I like it. It's very good.
You know, this one is called crab meat. Crab
Crab meat.
Yeah.
用中文怎么说？
螃蟹.
螃蟹. Okay.
It's like a stick, crab meat stick, the 蟹棒. So the 蟹 is 螃蟹, right? So every time you see 蟹, people know already it's 螃蟹, means 螃蟹.
螃蟹.
So 蟹棒 is crab stick.
Okay.
Because 螃蟹is delicate, right? It's kind of expensive, delicate. But that's why they like crab stick. They like this kind of food. But in real, it's not crab meat because crab meat is too expensive. So they made it with the fish meat.
Oh, okay.
So they use a flour, I guess, or something with fish.
Okay.
So they do that, but they call it nice name, like crab meat or crab stick.
Oh, okay.
But it's nothing to do with crab.
Okay, well, like we say, it's a little like imitation crab.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's popular. It's like I would say it's like a Chinese version of a spam. You know this thing is the luncheon meat, right? Spam. Yeah. So it's easier to cook. So I guess that's why the crab stick is popular, and it's easy to pack, and the flavor is there. And this one is popular as well. The braised pork belly is one of our best seller. That's the sweet potato noodle. Try some. Better use with the fork. Fortunately, we got a lot of fork here.
Oh.
Easier with fork for the noodle thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a sweet potato noodle. It's not regular noodle.
Okay. So, you said you're from Jiangsu, right?
Yeah, Jiangsu province.
Jiangsu province. But what Jiangsu Shanghai is also in Jiangsu, right?
Shanghai used to be part of Jiangsu 100 years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Before, I guess, around the time the first Western powers they were occupying Shanghai in the 1910 or 1910s, 1900s. So all the Shanghai was I guess at least the urban area was divided into a lot of they call concession areas. So it's like the embassy area, but it's much larger. So the French concession area, Japanese, Americans, British, they all have their own land within the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why Shanghai from 1900 was way like modern, like westernized. So it's kind of still today you see a lot of Western what is the architectures, the churches still there.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen some of the videos of Shanghai.
Yeah, but before that time, Shanghai was a small city, so part of Jiangsu province. But after that, I guess, or sometimes, so they get the Western influence, and then the city itself, because it's a port city as well. So the Changjiang River, or what they call Yangtze River. So the Changjiang River, the port is really wide open there. So it's a port city. Even today, it's an important port.
Okay.
So economy itself just picked up really fast. So it's grew so big, so cannot be part of Jiangsu province anymore. So it's only that status.
Okay, then that's the reason why it became like a special economic zone.
Exactly. So
okay. And how long when is the last time you've been to China? I mean, you've been here for 17 years in Montreal.
Yeah. Last time was before the pandemic.
You still have family over there?
Yeah. Okay. All my family except my wife, my child.
Okay. And your wife, she's Chinese also?
Yeah.
And your kid, you only have one kid?
Yeah. My daughter, she's almost 10. She was born here.
Okay. Okay. That's very, very, very young. And how's your experience in Montreal?
Montreal is great. It's a great city. Has a lot of issues, missed a lot of potentials. Supposed to be a great city, way better than now, but it's still great.
We can talk about the construction that lasts forever, but we still love the city, right?
I guess for me, Montreal is like it's caught in the middle of the political fights. It's our Quebec province as a whole. It's kind of fighting for the special status of within federation.
Exactly.
But Montreal, it's kind of a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, even before 20, 30, 40 years ago, Montreal was way better than Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're definitely right. We're seeing little changes in Montreal right now because a lot of the architecture, like the buildings, are being constructed. So I'm seeing maybe a change in the next maybe 10, 15 years in Montreal. But I think Montreal is still, for the next 10 to 15 years, is still a great city to be in because it's going to change.
It's just Montreal itself is a great city, but it just kind of it's lost its potential. It's supposed to be top 10 or top 5 in North America.
Yeah, exactly. But Toronto is not top 4.
Yeah. Toronto is huge because you miss a lot of all your policies, the political stuff. Just push a lot of people, especially the talents, the real talents. They choose not live with your kind of fights, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to have a stable, welcoming environment for the businesses, especially the big ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, a lot of the big corporations, they decided to put their headquarters where they pretty much centralized all the activities of the business and Toronto. So that's why
exactly.
most of the talents they move for Toronto. Yeah. I've got some friends also. They moved from Montreal to Toronto after they graduated.
It's not very business friendly because business they want stable environment. They want everything easy. You know.
Yeah.
Like losing up. You know, not like you have roadblocks here, roadblocks there. You never know. One day you have this kind of issue, extra cost on some unnecessary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just running a business is not easy, and you don't want to add extra difficulty on top of the daily stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I always have a theory: if you are really top people, you know, those people that don't have patience, they don't have enough patience to see I will see how your policy is going to play out within 2 or 3 years. They are top people, so they can take their talents anywhere in the world. So they don't want to wait on you, you know.
That's true.
Like everybody has talents, like myself a little bit, but we are not top people. If I'm the top people, I'm not sitting here, you know. I'm not staying here, you know. Sometimes, you know, you still have got decent, good talents, but it's not top. The top people sometimes, you know, they don't tolerate that much. They don't tolerate those kind of BS that much, you know. Yeah, if they say BS, they took off. They take off
because it takes too slow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing. You have to be, if you're a real kind of politician, have the real interest of the people of the city. You know, you have to be really, really real. You know, have to be authentic instead of you saying one thing, but your behind is another calculation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Because you have to make this city, it has a great foundation already in the history already. You have everything, but you just kind of ruin it a little bit, and it's cut the limbs of the city or whatever.
Yeah. And what if your daughter says she wants to move from Montreal to go to another bigger city for better opportunities?
It's her own choice. That probably will be true, you know, when she's 20-something years old. You know, you never know.
Okay.
Everybody has their own choices.
Yeah.
But I'm not outsider. I'm just living here 7 years. But I've seen it's a great potential. Not only potential, it was great before. You know, you just degraded it, right?
Yeah. I was considering also moving from Montreal to another city to access bigger markets.
Yeah.
Because by working in a bigger city, for example, like Toronto, you have access to another type of ecosystem that this ecosystem is linked to another ecosystem, which is in another city. It's like a back door, for example, if your plan is to move to the US, for example. A lot of American companies, they have office in Toronto.
Yeah, exactly.
And that back door you have is in Toronto. And you can use that back door to access to the American market.
That's why most time the policies, they are stopping the developing of a city, not helping. So they're not doing, most of them not doing much. The more they do, the more they stop you from growing. They prevent you from growing. They do all this kind of rules. Sometimes it's just it's not reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you have to be. You don't, but everybody has their own interests. You know, you simply it would be naive to expect the politicians really genuine. Right?
Yeah.
They have to worry about their votes. They have to worry about staying in power, staying in their positions. But once in a while, people still hope, you know, you don't do too much damage. You just let it go, you know, let it don't kill the chicken who's gonna lay eggs, right?
I totally agree. I think with the fact that the talents are going away, I think there's only one aspect that that Montreal does have and will still have in the long term is the cultural aspect.
You will be an artistic city for sure, but
Yeah.
artistic city does not bring the perspective, you know.
Yeah. Maybe for one summer, but after that, what do you do after one summer?
You know, it's like the wealth, everything business. It's like either through renovation, technology, or the business management, whatever. But it's a real talent. It's not like you know, it's a real business. Not like you have a good vegetable here, there. You know, it's nice. It's nice to have, but it's not the real power of a city.
Yeah, definitely agree. I definitely agree. I heard in this restaurant there was like some karaoke events and stuff like this. True?
That's before the pandemic, I guess. We did one or two city trial,
Mm-hmm.
but we do have the called club on that. Instead of cuisine on that, we have club on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's all based on the volunteers. So it's kind of to learn English, improve French,
Okay.
the language exchange, like job. Yeah. We have. You could be a great teacher for French or English, and then some like Chinese students or immigrants, they can teach you practice Chinese with. That's the whole thing. It's called club on that.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
when do you usually do it?
Before the pandemic, we do every week 2 or 3 times. And we had another one is the club on that I say it's a tiny thing. It's French learning, English learning, and also workplace experience sharing. So we have seminars and some events have speakers or the panel to share the experience in the workplace, how to negotiate your salary raise, how to get promoted, how to be a good part of the team. Those kind of some culture barrier, like most for Chinese immigrants here. So they work here in the IT. I work in IT. So working as a developer, software developer.
You work as an IT at the moment, or?
I lost my job during the pandemic. Otherwise, I'm still IT engineer. I was a network engineer.
Oh, okay.
Doing Cisco stuff.
Oh, okay.
Those network firewall and the VPN.
Oh, okay.
This kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So that's why for me always like to encourage people, especially the same thing. If you had the IT, if you engineer from Haiti or other country, sometimes your like experience or the certificate diploma not recognized here.
Yeah, exactly.
The same thing to Chinese immigrants too. So they spend way much time to do the certificate or diploma here. So waste 2 or 3 years. Actually, if you are confident enough or something, you know the job market, with your experience, probably you should be able to get the job right away.
But let me ask you a question. Let's say you graduated, you're Chinese, you graduated from Haidi, Tsinghua.
Yeah. I'm from Tianjin University.
Tianjin?
Yeah, Tianjin University.
Tianjin University. Okay. And then you graduate from Tianjin University.
Yeah.
As a world recognized university, for example, like Tsinghua,
Tsinghua, Beida is Beijing University. They are pretty big.
Okay.
Also, they pick the students very strictly. So, if entering the university means you are top 1% already.
Yeah, exactly.
Already. So, it proves your talent, your genius already.
And those people, when they come to the Canadian market, job market, they're having problems to get jobs here?
I don't think so. For them, should be. I guess even in China, they're gonna probably the company they work for is a famous company anyway.
Okay.
And
so they don't need to come here.
Yeah, they can come here, but a lot of them they did come here. But with their capability, I don't think that would be an issue at all.
Okay.
most time is through the SAT, the standard exam, national exam. So when we say like most people you don't have classmates going to those universities. If you do have a classmate going to end up in the university, you know that those guys are not normal. They are pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So their IQ or whatever, pretty off the chart. It's pretty. So for them, any one of them, they can pick up language pretty well and new knowledge.
Knowledge is a pattern. That's what there's a pattern apparently that let's say you want to learn a new language, you can learn several words and end up actually being able to speak the language. Just like anything, you can pick up and start from scratch. So I didn't know. So you were a software developer.
I was engineer, the network engineer doing maintenance,
okay.
more configuration. I learned computer science, but I did not do the coding.
Oh, okay. A little bit like a network architect, or you work in IT architecture, stuff like this, right?
Yeah. So I was in charge of a company's network. I've got a network, internet, the firewall, and a secure tunnel, VPN tunnel to customer sites,
Okay.
customer network.
And do you intend going back to the field, or right now you're comfortable?
I don't think I have choice now. I have to stay in the restaurant now.
Okay.
Pandemic changed everything, short of labor, short of staff, and the kind of decrease of sales, the inflation, everything. The pandemic changes everything. Actually, for me.
We're not that aware about the reality of business owners sometimes.
No, small business owners in Montreal is kind of decimated. It's really bad situation. So without pandemic, the small business already it's over competitive already.
Yeah, the margins, especially for restaurants, is very slow, very very low. So right now with the pandemic, things are getting better.
Small business really they suffer, I guess, the most, and also artists, the musicians, artists, all those people. They rely on the income from performing somewhere on the festivals, events. They kind of lost 100% almost.
100%. Do you have a feeling that right now it's getting back to
it's
pre-pandemic level?
For us, not yet. But it's getting better. But the loss you took during the pandemic, you cannot come back. The losses, whatever. And a lot of small businesses just could not survive. They did not survive. A lot of them.
Yeah.
It's a bad situation. But now with the inflation, everything, even the high interest, it looks like a recession is
near our doors.
Yeah. It's inevitable. It's like
there was a whole movement of encouraging business owners to stay open and keep buying. From our local restaurant to encourage them. The whole thing, it's like being on artificial respiration, like the whole everybody was like on artificial respiration. I mean, aspiration breathing and.
But it's like your professor, Chinese professor in the teaching Chinese in the UQAM University. Like is the professor like from China or it's like a local here?
He's a local here, but his parents are from the Guangdong area, but they migrated to Cambodia. So he's basically like Huayan.
Okay.
And also there's another professor who's like the head of the whole department. She's from mainland China also. So they're the one responsible of teaching, making the activities and the department.
So it's a formal course, right? So you have credit point, right?
Exactly.
How many points?
It's 3 credit, 40 hours class. So once a week, 3 hours for 15 weeks, 3 credit. And basically, I'm not a teacher, so basically the way that they did it, they divided by they have a more comprehensive approach, I would say. Like they will teach you the speech, the writing, and the reading comprehension. And they will teach you how to create sentences, how to. There's no conjugation in Mandarin.
Nope, that's the good thing. That's the really beauty of the language. You just put the words together, one by one. It's like the Lego.
Yeah,
it's
that's why her name is Min Sun. She said Chinese is easy.
Yeah,
there's no conjugation.
It's the best in the world. It's very logical.
Yeah, and I have a question to ask you. Is it true that if you code in Chinese, it's easier than coding in English?
Through the programming?
Yeah.
No way. No, that's a lie.
Oh, okay.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
I don't think so.
Okay.
For programming, everything has to be English most of the time.
Okay. Because I was told it was more easy.
No.
But nonetheless, the biggest challenge in learning the language is the writing system.
Yeah.
For myself, the why was a big challenge because I'm not doing a major in linguistics. So as a student, my job is to learn the technique of management or operations and everything. That's what I do like every day when I take a textbook, do my job, my assignments. And when it comes to time to writing, I never really had the time because you could do a homework of writing, but it takes practice. You need to keep practicing. And my daily day, my time, I didn't really have the time to practice the writing system. So all I could do is type, memorize, and that's how I managed.
Last time, you were sending me a message in WeChat. It's in Chinese.
Yeah.
So do the pinyin typing, right?
Mm-hmm. Pinyin. I don't use any translator. It's just right away typing, and I will only use a translator if there's like you said, Chinese is like putting words together.
Yeah.
I need to put some words together, and there's one word that I need to put together in my sentence that I don't know. I will just find a word and then put it together because I understand the structure. And even if the structure is bad,
you get the meaning, right?
Yeah, you get the meaning. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the beautiful things. Because in French, you can't do that. If there's one word missing, you don't even understand the context.
That's like I always, when I'm learning my poor French, I found it. French is like a programming language. It's like a programming. You have to put the agreeing adjective and agreeing noun. You know, everything has been in agreement. Plural, masculine, feminine, and then like everything have to be in agreement. So it's kind of a I guess who invented the French language has to be a programmer. You see the logic right there. But the worst logic in French is like 80 is 80.
Yeah.
That's 80 is so, and the 70 is like 70.
Yeah.
And you have to do the mathematics. You do the, what is 80? You have 4 times 20.
Yeah.
What the hell? So that's kind of when I was learning French, that's where I lost my respect to the language.
Huh.
You have English, you have 81, 82, 83. In French, you will be 80, 81, 82, 83. Those kind of, you always have 80, you have something for 80.
Yeah.
Something 70, you have something for 70. And 90 will be 90, 91, 91. And then it's not making any sense.
It's difficult if you're not a native speaker.
Why do you do that calculation in your mind when you have to, when you knew you have to do the calculation when you talk? I guess they have to invent a word for 80 and 70 or 90.
There is actually a word, but it's not in French from France. It's if you go to Belgium, they have a word for, I think for 70 or 80, it's called 90.
Okay.
91, 92. It's like 81, 82.
Exactly. So I guess Belgian people, they are smart. Salute to them. Really, they need to have to you have to be progressive, progress over time. It's not, that's why it's come on, you lose respect, It's like, are we still doing this?
Just to give you an example, when you say see you later,
Yeah.
à tantôt,
yeah,
in French.
Yeah.
That's so a lot of people say it's like from Quebec.
Yeah.
It is, but if you go to, I think it's in Belgium or Switzerland, that if you say tantôt, it means à tout à l'heure aussi, à tantôt. So à tout à l'heure, you have like à tout à l'heure, about 4 or 5 words.
Yeah, a lot of words.
And then tantôt is like tantôt,
Yeah.
à tantôt, 2 words.
Or English, bye.
Yeah.
Or bye, or see you.
Yeah, and when you make
or see ya.
yes, yeah, and when you make a debate with someone, when there's an oral debate about a subject, apparently English to say the same thing takes a lot less words.
Yeah, much faster.
Yeah.
I guess that's why French people always lost.
But because right now there's a class where I have to make a lot of debate, and I was competing against Concordia and McGill.
Okay.
They have 3 arguments, and they say it like fast.
Yeah.
When we have to expose our 3 arguments when we're doing our debate, like there's a lot of like.
Imagine that in the battlefield, when you're fighting a war, there's a command post communication you take 10 seconds to finish your command, and then the battle was already lost.
Yeah.
The enemies are in your face already, so
hopefully all the battlefield system is in English, so they have no choice to do it in English. Yeah. So
no, but I mean the French army when they were fighting Germans, taking too long to have any simple commands or jokingly, but another theory is like if you cook well, you don't fight well. Like Italians, French, they're really not good at wars, but they are good at the cuisine, cooking.
Yeah, the French and their cuisine is good.
Yeah, exactly. Italian in the World War II, French, not very impressive.
But what about the Chinese? They're good. The cuisine is good.
Not good at fighting either.
Oh.
We lost almost the half of the land to Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they call like 100 years of humiliation, century of humiliation.
Yeah. But can you be good at war and cooking at the same time?
Not really. You see the British almost the best in the modern history.
Mm-hmm.
The British Empire. But look at the fish chips. That's all. And a baked potato, which is really nice.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Spanish or Portuguese cuisine, but Japanese can be, or do you think they can be good at the same time? Battle.
Japanese is
Yeah.
very unique. They are. I guess they are.
Japanese cuisine is very popular there.
They are very unique nation. The people, they are so disciplined themselves.
Mm.
So whatever they do very extreme.
Mm.
The discipline themselves, everything they do, they go too extreme, and you lose fun. They're too serious.
And you're wearing a Brazil T-shirt. Did you saw the World Cup? They were cleaning the stadium.
Oh yeah, that's Japanese. Japanese, they clean. Yeah.
They were cleaning the stadium.
Yeah. They're too serious.
And it's not even in their country. It's the stadium from another country.
Yeah.
They were cleaning it. I mean,
that's why they are very difficult to defeat. Whatever they do, they succeed. Very difficult to defeat them.
Because they have a goal.
Yeah, exactly. Also, they have a teamwork. If they say set out a goal here like this, like CO2 emission. If they want to say let's cut the CO2 emission by half next year, probably they're going to do it right away.
Yeah. Do you think there's another nation similar to the Japanese that has the same mentality, same philosophy?
They're very unique. I guess they are the only one. I was listening to Dan Carlin, the Extreme History. It's a podcast from I guess the United States. Dan Carlin. It's amazing. Like every podcast about Dan Carlin. About 5 hours one episode about explain one thing history. There's one series like 4 episodes, totally 20 some hours about Japan.
Okay. Well.
So they say some people, but he quoted somebody in the podcast, somebody way before a kind of famous figure said about Japanese. They said Japanese is like anybody else in the world, just more so. That's like they are all the humans. Like every nation, they have their character. They are all the same. The quote is like Japanese is like everybody else, just more so.
Just more so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some people they said, oh, I like gardening. Like in the backyard, you have garden, and then like spend a lot of time pruning and then doing trimming, doing all those kind of landscaping. But if they go to see a Japanese garden, they say, what the hell? Like his job is so ordinary, The Japanese, the bonsai, those little small tree, the pine little thing on the. So it's amazing. So they do all those little things, details.
Yeah, it's another level of discipline.
Yeah, exactly. So that's detail, discipline. So look at the electronics, the cars, Toyota, Honda. Look at the quality, right?
But also, just to make a parallel with my field of study, the Japanese, in terms of management, because management, it takes a lot of discipline. It's a discipline by itself. In the Japanese, and maybe after World War II, they come up with different working style to improve efficiency, because efficiency is very important. We need to make more with less. It's not enough. We need to work on efficiency and work discipline. That's the Japanese when they invented some new management technique to better build products, better quality.
Also, a business is more like the quality and efficiency, the cost, right?
Yeah.
But what do you think of the Elon Musk taking over Twitter, cutting a lot of people?
I think I don't understand this project. But I think cutting off the people. Maybe he's cutting off the people that doesn't bring any value to the company, or is just trying to reorient the mission of the company. It's really hard to say because I don't understand the project of Elon Musk for Twitter. I was having this discussion with someone who was working at SpaceX.
Crazy, right? They're very efficient.
Yeah. He told me that SpaceX basically, at the beginning of the company, they just blew up satellites in the sky. Just every satellite, he told me, costs about 30 to 40 million. So every satellite even shoots in the sky, 30 million.
So that guy's still working the SpaceX?
Yeah. He's an engineer like you, but he's materials.
Okay.
So basically,
they have to deal with a lot of special materials.
Exactly. And he told me that basically take a backpack, multiple backpack, put a bomb, and every of those backpacks there's like $1 million. So 30 backpacks, put a bomb, and just blew the bomb. That's basically what SpaceX did in the early stage of the company.
This guy in Montreal?
No, they don't have office in Montreal. They have suppliers.
Okay.
Because apparently there's very few suppliers for certain materials for satellites to launch those satellites and the bigger projects.
But a lot of people think like work for Elon Musk is very stressful. Like
that's what he said.
But it's good. This guy has to be very good to be able to work in there for a long.
You got to be good at first to be like to work for a company like SpaceX. Not like when I say good, I would say maybe you got to be a like average grade. You have to be a B plus. I'd say like A minus. Yeah, you have to be a B plus. If you're a B plus, you're above.
Or the work ethic has to be high.
Yeah. Because at the same time, if you're a B plus in the engineering field, that means that every day after your classes, you study to keep that average. Because our bachelor is 3 years. I have to take 30 classes. If you do 4 years, that's 40 classes. So for 40 classes, you need to keep an average of B plus, above B plus. When you graduate over B plus, that means like you got a good work ethic. I can consider myself as over B plus, but a lot of people say that I still feel that I'm not productive like someone who has like A plus.
But what about your SpaceX friend thing about Musk about the whole SpaceX company? Because SpaceX is kind of it's crazy. It's like it's on top of the world.
I think he told me the target for SpaceX is provide internet to rural areas.
That's Starlink.
Starlink, exactly. But my reflection is, but those companies they're going to compete against telecommunication companies because the cellular towers, you have to build it. I don't know. It could cost $10 million to build a cellular tower to transfer network elsewhere. But Starlink is just shooting up satellites, and you can.
I guess no, they're not. Starlink is not competing with telecom providers because they gave up already. The cost to build the cellular tower to rural area, remote area, is too much. There's no ever they can recover the cost. So it's already long gone. They give up already. So they're not competing. They supplement each other. So the Starlink, the high-speed internet is not competing with anybody. So their market is the place not existing at all.
That's what he told me.
Yeah. So there's the only market, the competitor will be the Amazon has their own project for the satellite high-speed internet, and also there's one probably in UK called OneWeb. So those. But they just could not keep up the pace with SpaceX.
But at a certain point, when you're able to bring down the cost of building satellites, or you have enough satellites, and then after 10, 15, 20 years, you kind of like bring down the cost of operation. It would make sense for those companies to compete directly with telecom companies in the next 10 years or 15 years.
I guess they won't do that because satellite internet by nature, they don't have advantage, even a big disadvantage to compete with the cellular towers, because cellular tower work in the open area. If you have the population like high density population, satellite internet is nothing. You cannot compete because it's the beam. The beam has the bandwidth to cover this area. If you have only 10 people leaving this beam, this area beam covers, you have good bandwidth. But if you have hundreds or 1,000 people living in the same area, your bandwidth is going to be, each one sharing is so slow, so small. So there's no way. It's technically it's not doing that. Nobody is doing that.
That's what he told me, but I was maybe thinking
nobody in the city gonna need that. But unless you want to be mobile, really mobile, you kind of I saw some live streaming stuff on the YouTube. So they drive like SUV, whatever, or van, truck. So they have the antenna terminal to receive, so they can on the go, on the mobile. So that would be valuable to them, because once in a while they're gonna go to the suburb, they're gonna go to a remote area, to sky watching, whatever astronomical stuff. But they're never designed to compete, never.
But that means that the Tesla car now can receive some connection from the Starlink satellites. Do you mean that those cars cannot connect to?
I guess Tesla right now they're connecting through cellular, always cellular, because cellular is already good enough. But the backup could be Starlink when they drive really far from the city, in the mountain area, or in the really in the kind of national park. You have no cellular signal there. Probably if you have high-end configuration, probably gonna have your backup system.
Okay.
Backup internet for your car. So first choice always cellular, because the cost of the cellular is just it's not same level. It's not possible for them to do that unless it's a suicide attempt to do a business.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that's what he told me. Yeah.
But it's very valuable to like those cargo ships in the ocean, on the ocean, everything. So and airplane as well. So I guess Hawaii airline, all those kind of some airlines, they are using the Starlink, SpaceX Starlink to provide high-speed internet to all the passengers already. So all those areas, and it's really valuable, and it's kind of life-saving as well. Because when you I guess last time was T-Mobile was working with SpaceX, so somehow the cell phone has a band reserved for those telecom companies. The band can directly talk to the Starlink satellites. So with your existing cell phone in the mountain area, in anywhere without any cellular at all, so you still can receive, the cell phone can receive the signal from Starlink satellites. So the bandwidth can allow you to text and make phone calls. So that will save a lot of people when you are trapped lost in a forest, mountains, and you can always text and call, and that would be amazing. The bandwidth would be, because the internal antenna of cell phone, so only allow certain amount of bandwidth to the satellites, but that's good enough. So
to send a text message or
so you will be saved. So rescue people are gonna find. So there's on the globe, there's no any blind spot anymore for the communication to save your life.
So the Starlink satellite will be able to cover
everything. They're already almost everywhere in the world. Because they should have like more than 3,000 satellites already. Because they have rockets, and their rockets is reusable.
Yeah.
So they land and reuse it. That's why the cost per launch is super low comparing to anybody else.
Wow.
That's why they're the best in the business. So they kind of Musk made his name by SpaceX as the best ever, first ever, to be able to land a rocket.
Yeah, I mean,
after 7 years, nobody else, no any country can do that, even close. So still, after 7 years, SpaceX is the only company or the country ever in the world to be able to land a rocket, reuse it. So still, 7 years passed, no any other country, doesn't matter how powerful the country is.
Yeah.
So you see, one company can beat whole nation.
One company that can beat is, what's the name?
No, can beat the whole nation, other nations on this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one company is SpaceX.
Yeah. SpaceX can do that, like landing a rocket. All the expandable, all rockets they shoot up, launch the rocket, and they expand it.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's why he's so such a genius.
I mean, this guy started with PayPal. He went on with Tesla and then SpaceX. I think he has multiple business ventures also.
Yeah, SpaceX is crazy, especially the people, as an engineer, people respect him mainly because of SpaceX, the rockets, the Falcon 9, the rocket can land, because there's a kind of a comparison between, like you take an airplane and you expand the airplane after you take the flight, so it'll be too expensive. The rocket the same. So you should launch a rocket. You don't destroy the rocket. It's if you lose the airplane after you drop people to some destination, if you lose the airplane, who can afford take the airplane? The same thing. So airplane, rocket is a vehicle. So you don't lose the vehicle after every use, right?
Yeah.
So that's the idea.
That's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Before, everybody wants to reuse it, but it's too difficult. You just don't have the technology to reuse it, to land it. But somehow he cracked the code 7 years ago. So from 7 years ago to now, till now, almost more than 100 times landed already. So every time shoot up rocket and land back. The first stage is the most costly on first stage.
And this is the first, but how many? They must have spent a lot of millions on research and development.
Somehow that's why he's smart. He with minimum budget. Some people with minimum budget they can do. The result is amazing.
Yeah.
Some people it doesn't matter the Bezos, the Jeff Bezos for Amazon. He got tons of dollars. He got his company started earlier than SpaceX. He founded the Blue Origin.
Blue Origin. Yeah.
Blue Origin does try to do the same thing, but still today there's no orbital rocket even today.
Yeah.
He got a lot more money than Elon Musk at the beginning. A lot more. It's not a money issue. It's you have to have the team.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there's another company, that Virgin Galactics, that they're trying to.
I'm big fan of space. That thing is not a real thing.
Virgin Galactics.
It's not real. It's like a suborbital for the tourists, space tourists.
Wouldn't you like to go to the space, just like do some tourism?
Yeah, it's called not real orbit.
Yeah,
it's a suborbit. It's much lower. So you just go there to zero gravity to experience the zero. That's all. It's for fun. It's like a toy.
Oh, okay.
It's a toy. But its idea is like it has a rocket mounted on top of a plane. So the plane gonna take off and to take you to certain high altitude. So from that altitude, and it's much easier. Then you start the rocket. It's much easier for the rocket to save a lot of fuel, everything, so to reach some height.
And the rocket stays in the plane, like.
Yeah. So at a certain altitude, the plane gonna drop the rocket.
And what is going to happen with the rocket?
The rocket is gonna start ignite. The rocket is gonna start the engine, and then from certain that altitude is much easier, save a lot of fuel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the idea. It's a smart design, but this kind of design, it's the limit is suborbital or the weight. You cannot push like a payload too much. Because you kind of a cheat, right? Yeah. It's like a cheat middle.
So the plane is not going to stay in orbit. It's just going to fly.
It's just sub-zero. It's not the suborbital, like zero gravity. Just the experience.
Oh, okay.
It's fun. It's a toy. But real thing supposed to be a Blue Origin is a real thing. But the progress is just too slow. Yeah. It's like several years behind their plan. So they had the New Shepard NS. The New Shepard, that's kind of suborbital. The thing shoot you up to some altitude and then have the zero gravity experience for a few minutes and drop down to the ground. But it's nice thing because it's very small comparing to the Falcon 9 SpaceX rocket. So they have more control, granular control, so it will land itself. So it's not expandable, it's reusable. But the problem is too small. There's no real power. Okay. Yeah, the can only push you to certain payload to the certain altitude, so it's not orbital. But their next plan is supposed to be New Glenn. New Glenn is the real thing, is the orbital one. But it's always delay. Even today, there's no even attempt.
Oh, wow. So I guess it must cost a lot of money, like $500,000? Or
Every year, it's like at the beginning, 2002, I believe, or even earlier, every year he injected $1 billion. So Jeff Bezos got a lot of money, tons of money. So every year he put aside $1 billion to his Blue Origin project, a lot of money in. But somehow he's not working on it himself. Musk is the chief designer of the rocket himself. So he's there every day. He designed the whole rocket.
But we got there's three guys that I know in the aerospace industry when it comes into talking about this project. There's Jeff Bezos, which is, this guy's not an engineer. Elon Musk, he's an engineer, right? And Richard Branson.
Yeah, Richard Branson is not an engineer. It's not engineer. You have to be the engineer. You have to know the thing working on it.
Yeah.
The other next company is really good is Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab is pretty decent, pretty good. They had a lot of success to the orbits already.
And the owner is an engineer, I guess. So.
I'm not sure, but he's New Zealand and the United States, half. Sometimes the launching side is New Zealand, sometimes it's United States. So Rocket Lab is pretty successful right now, but their payload level is not close to SpaceX yet. So for example, SpaceX, the medium lift is about like 16 tons, for example, 18 tons. But they got only half ton. Their capability is half ton or 1 ton maximum. So the rocket is much smaller. So it's not, so the market is launch market probably for the small satellites, but for the big ones has to be SpaceX. SpaceX, the Falcon 9 is probably, they call the medium lift. The heavy lift is the heavy rocket is the Falcon Heavy. That one can push like almost like 60 tons, or like almost close to 100 tons. Depends on which orbit you go to. So they are the dominant. They are the only one really serious still today in the United States.
And the world also.
Yeah, in the world, because the reusable is really crazy, save them tons of money, because the majority of cost, 70-80% of the cost, you can reduce that.
Okay. What do you? I mean, I know like China, they have a lot of R&D, but what do you think about now? China was able to send some astronaut flights.
They're amazing.
Amazing.
It's amazing. A lot of spend a lot of. It's a country has too much money.
Too much money, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's if the country put so much money, they can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a country. It's a whole nation thing.
Do you think is it true that they're trying to build like the International Space Station, but entirely built by China?
Yeah, it is. It is in the orbit already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So there's a central module, and then the two modules attached to it. I believe the first one was at the beginning of the year, the central one, and the module, and then two other modules already sent up already. I guess already complete or almost complete, or the missing one module on it. So this year are going to be the 3 astronauts already living in the central module for 6 months already.
They're not back yet. They're still in orbit.
They're still there, and then I guess last week or this week they're gonna send out a new batch of 3 astronauts to replace them, to kind of take off the shift. Okay. So every time they stay 6 months.
Okay.
So it's pretty big thing. Big deal.
That's not it's just for China, or just
only Chinese.
Oh, okay.
Only Chinese. So they did everything by their own, by themselves.
So it's not an international space station like the.
Not at all. But it's much smaller.
Much smaller.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the International Space Station has mainly Russia and the United States.
Yeah.
Because those two rivals, they kind of came up with cooperation. Yeah. So those two superpower of the space, so they joined force together.
But this, the International Space Station that was built jointly with Russia and the United States and some
of the other countries, Canada.
They're going to take it back. It's going out of orbit soon, I think.
I think the news said they're gonna extend that to much later, because the orbit is low a little bit every day, a little bit. So they every time they just push it a little back. They use a capsule, the spacecraft, to just like attach to it and then push it a little back to raise the orbit. So they're gonna stay there. but it's as long as they have the Axiom is a private company. They're building their own space station, so they're gonna have new, much better. Later on, like they say, like it's already not a future, not a futuristic thing. It's a reality, almost reality. Certain thing they're gonna produce some factories in space. They're gonna produce something in space, so space factory. So already doing that already.
Well, what they're gonna do in space?
Some stuff they produce maybe zero gravity. They can do something amazing. So they're gonna produce some products. It's easy. It's a mature technology already to build a station there, space station.
Well,
The Axiom, AXIOM. You can Google Axiom project. It's a private company.
okay.
So they have design. There's already design out for the space station. What's it look like inside, outside.
Okay.
So it's a pretty standard there.
So right now there's not gonna be a joint project with different nations.
You don't have to do that. Americans, they can do their own, or Russians, they can do their own. It's just money. Right now, the United States, NASA, they want to share the cost. They want other countries to chip in for the cost. The technology is not a big deal. It's the money.
Yeah.
It's been like those technologies building a space station being out there for 30, 20 years or even 50 years. The Russians have their own original one, and maybe 50 years ago, Americans too. The International Space Station, probably 20 years, 15, 9, probably about 20 years. But way before that, it's mature. It's just the cost. The NASA doesn't have the budget to build their own, so they have to the Artemis thing. They're going back to the moon. It's called Artemis, I guess.
Artemis, yeah.
Artemis project.
Yeah.
It's tons of company, even the country from UAE or something. They all chip the money. Canada, Italy, like Germany, British. They all give money to NASA to do this because it's money. It's not like technology.
Yeah, it's not a technological problem.
Yeah.
It's just the money.
Artemis is it's amazing project, but I guess even I don't think they spend even half of them, maybe 1/4. It's from United States, from NASA. No.
Yeah.
It's a teamwork. It's bear the cost.
Do you think that we're gonna get like some new? What do you think about the future of technology right now, like in the next 10 to 15 years?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. That's too crazy. But I do follow a lot of space stuff. I watch a lot of YouTube on about space.
So you want to be a space physician, like physics engineer?
No, there's no way. Those kind for the serious people, man.
But maybe you can go to.
I can cook for them. We can have the astronaut, the Chinese food for astronauts only.
Yeah, but you cannot like bring this into space like this. It has to be dry.
Yeah, it has to be dry, and then like with have to squirt, right?
That is good. I mean, I didn't know like this. The American government and the NASA, they kind of privatize space exploration.
They save costs. They save a lot of money.
I like the idea, but when I was younger, I watched a movie that they kind of commercialized the moon, and they were doing like some exploration down the moon. Like they were like building digs, because there's a lot of precious metals apparently in the moon or whatever.
I guess whatever there has to be precious because
Yeah,
you don't have those stuff on Earth.
yeah.
So,
But at the end of the movie, the moon was destroyed, and parts of the moon kind of landed as asteroids on the Earth and kind of destroyed mankind. And then you can see like at the end of the movie, like the moon destroyed. Some of the rest of the moon were still in orbit, and you could see like years later, humankind, the human beings kind of went back to
Have you seen the movie Don't Look Up?
Oh, yeah,
That's a funny movie. That's the best.
yeah. Scary, but
It's a comedy.
it just shows that politicians don't listen.
Yeah.
Don't listen.
But it's so funny, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, did they die at the end of the movie? No, they didn't. They didn't die. I watched the movie, but I don't remember the ending of the movie.
No, the elite few, very few, the elite people, the president, the vice president, whoever, and the entrepreneur, the supposed to be Elon Musk or the Steve Jobs, the guy had the phone company.
Yeah.
So those elites, they did survive on the planet when they come back, or on other planet, but then they were eaten by other animals.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
That's your fate, you know. You kind of cannot escape your fate, destiny.
Yeah. Oh.
But what's your plan about learning Chinese now? Back to the Chinese learning thing. And then I see you use a lot of WeChat.
Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe applying for studying in China. But now there's like, I look at...
What have you learned with your Chinese language? Like the news about what's happening right now as we speak. Today is November 28th, 2022.
Yeah. So
You read Chinese?
Yeah.
How's your reading? You can read the articles on internet?
一点点。
一点点。But
但是在中国不好，我听说在中国不好。There's a lot of protestation right now.
Yeah.
So the students right now, and it's always the students, you know, here. Remember 2012?
We have the square, right?
Yeah, the square, the red square, the students.
Red square, yeah.
In the US, in France, it's always the student who start protests. And right now, yes, there's a protest. Because, you know, I took some history class in university and we talk about Tiananmen, all this stuff, and also the protests in Taiwan. Because I have a teacher who's Taiwanese also. He said that he made the comparison between the student protests in Taiwan and China.
Okay.
And what happened in China and what happened in Taiwan. So right now there's a protest and I'm still debating if I should apply or not. I want to, but...
You mean right now or the 5 years later when COVID is totally over?
Well, right now I can apply to Shanghai Jiaotong Dashi.
Right now?
Yeah, because the application platform is open. So there's the first wave and the second wave. The first wave, the deadline is December 15th. So to get priority.
Shanghai Jiaotong Dashi is a pretty good one. Top 10.
Yeah, top 10. Yeah. It's not. I'm not going there to do an MBA or whatever. It's just to understand, like.
But what about the cost?
Oh, it's a scholarship.
What do you mean scholarship? You have to be good with something, then you have to prove something to get a scholarship or...
Yeah, exactly. So basically for masters or PhDs, you need to provide like a study plan. What are you going to do like when you study over there? So, and what are you going to do later? So basically my plan is to work in the business field, consultation, whatever, and to have a better understanding about the region, and after talking with different teachers, whatever, like the way you can get the scholarship is how you're gonna as an individual, are you going to help a better mutual understanding between Canada and China. So that's how you can get the scholarship.
But not because of like what you achieved already. You showed them like, okay, I got A++,
yeah,
all the straight A's in my kind of your
Yeah, you
previous
need,
education?
yeah, you need to show that, the transcript. I don't think that's not going to be a problem. You need to, basically, if you come from a country that has like enough diplomatic power, you get like good consideration apparently. You know, the relation between Canada and China is not the same as U.S. and China. U.S.-China is very bad.
Yeah.
Right now, China is still okay, but
it's still very bad, I guess.
It's not to the point of the U.S., but we're going to a line where I don't know if we're friends.
Yeah.
See, because there was a time where the government didn't want to say anything about some certain things about China, but now we're come to a point where, I mean, the government comes to a point where it's pretty bad that we kind of want to diversify our investment in some places around China.
Okay.
Not just in China, but around like countries like Vietnam,
India.
Yeah. That's where the relationship comes down to. And I don't even know if I will be able to go there because there's like a diplomatic shift from Canada towards those countries, and maybe China might not even consider offering a scholarship for certain Western countries, or Canada might not even want to offer.
But do you have to talk to the some from Canada side to talk to them will this be do they have to be involved?
There's one scholarship. It's called Canada-China Scholarship. I'll take a sip of water. The work the scholarship works, there's also a Quebec level. Quebec-China, Canada-China.
Okay.
Works the same thing. If you're going there for a bachelor, you need to be under 25. Master, you need to be under 25. But that scholarship is not intended for Canadians or Quebecers to pursue a degree in China. It's just to learn the language so that they come back in Canada and work in, whether it's business consulting or foreign affairs. It's to help businesses or the government to better understand the region. That scholarship is still available, I think, at the moment, because there's students that are over there studying 1 year Mandarin, or 3 months, 9 months, or 1 year over there. And you don't need to have if you apply to China scholarship, you don't need to have good grades necessarily, because it's just like a scholarship that is given to some students or professors or business individuals to help them have a better understanding of the region. So, but if you apply, the process starts with Canada, and it's being finalized with the Chinese Scholarship Council, where the Chinese government from the Ministry of Education will evaluate your candidacy.
But who's paying the scholarship? Canada side?
Canada and China.
50-50?
50-50, yeah. 50-50. Because some countries, they do that. So basically, I'll give scholarship to your student to study in my country, and I'll send my students to study in your country, and we're going to share the cost.
But what about what's about the amount of the scholarship? Does that covers everything? Or?
The scholarship covers the tuition, the flight, some of the living expenses. Okay. Basically, it's to make sure that the students will only focus on learning the language and certain contents in China. You can always go by your own means, pay for it, but it's expensive.
It's expensive, yeah.
There's also another scholarship if you apply directly to the...
You can direct to the school, right? To the Chinese school. So bypass the Canadian side.
You can bypass the Canadian side. There's the university scholarship, provincial scholarship, and then the Chinese government scholarship, which is the highest. Yes. If you get that scholarship, which is very competitive, only the very, very good students, they get it, and there's certain slots that are being allocated to certain countries. For example, let's say France can get 2 students under the Chinese scholarship. Okay. So if there's hundreds of French students that wants to go there. You compete against those hundreds of French students, and only the best one goes there.
Okay. Yeah.
So in Canada, I don't know how many students apply, but you compete against the students that wants to go there.
But right now you are applying. You are considering the university scholarship, Shanghai Zhedong.
You can apply for the government scholarship directly to the university.
Okay.
So when you apply, apparently, from my understanding, you create a profile, you fill out everything, and then you select government scholarship, and then you submit the documents, and then your file is sent back to the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
There will be some analysis, and if you're taken, then you can go there. The government pays. Again, I think the reason why they do that is to create better understanding, but I don't know if they're still going to do it with all the tension. And right now, you talk about the protests. While I was sitting downstairs, I looked at the Instagram. I saw some students protesting in Shanghai, and it feels like they were protesting against the COVID lockdown and the fire that happened in Urumqi and Xinjiang, right? That killed 10%.
Okay.
So I think the whole thing is sad. I mean, I remember my time when I was being locked down for. There was a curfew, and you were being locked down.
For the 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock thing.
But over there, it's like total lockdown.
Yeah, that's different thing.
It's different.
Yeah, they mean business, right?
Yeah.
Serious business.
This is serious business. Over there.
Yeah, exactly. So here lockdown, we have the first day we had the 10 o'clock lockdown. There was a protest at exactly 10 o'clock, right?
There was a protest in
Montreal downtown. Mm-hmm. I knew that because I was working in the restaurant. I finished around 10. But here, the Montreal lockdown doesn't affect the restaurant, so we can open till 12, midnight, whatever. Mm-hmm. So as long as you work in the essential services like restaurants, grocery, so there's no restriction at all for us.
And I was scared to go outside to be taken by the cops to say, "Hey, where you're going?" But my mother works in healthcare, and when she came back, she said there was nobody outside, not even a cat or a dog. I mean, there's nobody. And then if you want to, she said, if you want to go out and play, go play, because there's no cops no police officer gonna say where you're going.
Yeah, I was never asked by a police, never stopped by police, because I'm always late. The restaurant business we finish always later than the curfew time.
Yeah. And at the same time, I mean, this is the curfew time, and everybody knows that everybody's pretty much home. If you're a cop, a police officer, you must be bored.
No speeding.
I mean, you imagine you were a police officer in the curfew, and you're being put on night shift on the curfew. Yeah. That's boring. Yeah. Minus 20, and the cop car. Yeah. What do you do? It's boring.
They always want to catch people.
Yeah.
They want to catch with ticket.
My brother was a police officer, and I can tell you that the reality of police officer is not what we saw in movies. Sometimes it's a little boring.
I guess it's very boring. And we're scared. We see them as long as you see a police car near you, you drive really slow.
Yeah.
They're not welcome. They're not good sign. You see. You see a police car.
And sometimes this guy is probably getting a coffee. Or probably he's done his shift and doesn't even care about me or about us. I mean, but what's happening in China? I want to see the development, see what's going to happen. But I hope nothing bad's going to happen.
You never know. China is very different from Canada or United States.
What do you think? Do you think it's a good thing for a young scholar to go study over there? What's your idea? What's your opinion about that?
If you want to master your language, it's better to. Even my university, I was in Kenny University from 1997 to 2001. Mm-hmm. So that year already a lot of international students, and not a lot, but you see foreign faces already in the class sometimes. So they went there, like that's 20 years ago, 22 years ago.
22 years ago.
Yeah, 22, 23 years ago, my university, we got some foreign students already. So when they literally sit in the same classroom, some of them, we have C language, the computer C language, and other, literally several, 2 or 3 foreign guys or foreign girl. They're sitting there. Sometimes even I couldn't understand what the professor was talking about. I was wondering how could they understand. Seriously, it's really, really bad. And like the terminology, the technology they used in the class, the professor, like sometimes the professor had accent. Like I was having trouble keeping up. So, and we had 2 or 3 like students, international students, they're not speaking very good Chinese. They were sitting in the same classroom, like, and when the time came for the exam, I was told, like, because the exam was written in Chinese, the exam paper in Chinese, I was told, like, for those international students, the professor just gave them answers. Like,
Really?
Yeah. They gave them answers to put on the paper. And then sometimes during the exam, we were kind of sitting up straight, not looking over the shoulder for the other people's paper. Sometimes, I guess that's real. Sometimes the professor who was monitoring the whole exam, some international student just asked them questions like, what is the answer for this one? And the professor who was in charge just said, okay, write this here.
That's not serious.
It is, because it's so challenging. Like, you're an international student, like they did not expect you to speak or read or write so well in Chinese. So it's already a huge challenge. You know, they're helping. You can say it's so super helpful. Like,
yeah, but when you get in the job market, you don't get the answer.
But a lot of them, like in our university, like if you are Western faces, like you know it's not from Asia, like they learn fast as well. So they had the accent, like probably my English accent as well. So they were learning at the early stages of the Chinese learning. Okay. So you tell like they're not very good in Chinese. But then at the same time, the university, if you have Japanese or Korean students, like they're really good at like Chinese, because they had like very close language themselves between Chinese, Koreans, and then Japanese. So those guys, their Chinese is pretty good. If they don't tell you they're Japanese, you don't know they're Japanese.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they look similar, and also they speak really fast, really good Chinese.
Fun fact: one time, I ordered some food on Fantuan Waimai.
Yeah, Fantuan Waimai.
And I was like speaking in Mandarin to the
customer service.
Yeah, because the guy called me.
Yeah,
he said, "You got now,
Oh, the delivery guy.
Yeah, how do we say 快递？
我们叫快递小哥。
快递小
Little brother.
Yeah.
Little brother.
快递小哥。
Yeah.
Okay.
快递员
快递员
Yeah.
快递员给我打电话。
对。
然后 I told him, I am in Concordia waiting for the food. He said, oh, okay, where are you? And I was like, here. And I come out, and I pick up the food. I show him the phone because I don't want him to think that I'm
stealing the food.
Just show him the
number.
The app.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what? What? I'm like, he's giving me the food. I was pretty sure that I was talking to Chinese because it's good, but it needs improvement. But it was a funny moment.
Yeah, because you're pretty good. We chat before. The Chinese is pretty good. It's just like when you it's like once you pass a certain level, it's very easy. You just talk in Chinese, Like the English, my speaking, most people feel very comfortable, like just talking to people in English.
But sometimes you cannot really hide your accent because sometimes when I do speak English, when I'm tired or whatever, there's the French accent that comes out. So whether you like it or not, it's useless to try to hide your accent.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's your accent. It's.
But over time, the accent itself gonna kind of you change, you adapt, especially you're learning language.
Yeah. Your accent will adapt to the language. You will develop your own accent for this language, and that's going to be your accent for the rest of your life.
You always, like me myself, I growing up in a rural area, a village, very poor village.
Okay.
So that our village, we have the accent like totally different. Like we see the official news channel on TV. Like we can, because official Mandarin, we have some Putonghua. We have so many different dialects, right? So our dialect is pretty crazy.
What's the name of your dialect?
It's just a village or the province or the every even different villages, they had their own little twist.
Because I know Shanghai
is very unique, and Cantonese as well, because those kind of and the Sichuan Hua as well, Sichuan the dialect. Those main ones, they're very very unique. So or they're gonna stand out the Shanghai, Sichuan or the Cantonese, right? But the other area they have their own, but you just don't call their names, They just have their own. Even different areas that within a province they have their own dialect.
Okay. I have a friend. He cannot speak French and English. He's just Mandarin, so he speaks Taishanhua. But
that probably the immigrants earlier or some like how old is this person?
28 years old.
Seriously? How without the English or French? How?
No English, no French.
This young age is not very very common. If you go through the legal channel, normally if like in China, if you go through education to university, which most Chinese immigrants came here or legally, like they all went through the education to university, all of them, without any exception, most of them. So you're gonna have a decent education of English, at least 10 years or 12. If you don't speak well, you can read very well. Like at least our generation or if you graduate from university, your English reading won't be a problem.
Won't be. It's a little bit like here where we learn French and then English, and then at the end of high school you're decent to read English, and then your English becomes even better after Cegep and university. It's up to you. But this guy cannot. He doesn't understand for French, but neither English.
That's pretty odd.
Well, I mean, he was working. The way I connect to him, he was working in a restaurant in Chinatown, and I was.
But this young age, 20-something, most probably they're gonna have good education for the foreign language. In China, always pick one. The English majority, the high school, primary school, even the kindergarten, they always have English class now.
I can assure you that
that's kind of I guess could be unique situation for this individual.
It's good for me.
So you can only you force you to practice Mandarin.
Forced to practice. We're in a store buying some winter jacket.
We call 大鹅.
大鹅.
大鹅 is the Canada goose.
大鹅.
大鹅 is the goose. Geese goose like 鹅.
Okay.
Well, 大鹅 big.
Or you can say he said another word like 加拿大鹅.
Yeah, 加拿大鹅.
加拿大鹅.
Yeah, 加拿大鹅. But we always say 大鹅 just to simplify. Just
the big goose.
Yeah, big goose. We call 大鹅.
大鹅. We're looking at this code, and
it's a big brand, so expensive like hell, like $1,000 for a coat. That's kind of silly.
Yeah, and there was more expensive coat at Macaj Ridsack. Ridsack is, in terms of style and price quality, I would say it's a good deal. But Canada Goose, I went to the dry cleaner and he said that don't buy Canada Goose because every time I clean them, they don't come out good. Even though you pay $1,000, they never come out good. Buy a rucksack or maquillage. It's expensive. Rucksack is less expensive than maquillage, about $400 less expensive. At least when you clean them, they come out pretty good.
For me, I only spent $100 on my coat.
Do you drive? I mean, you drive when you come here, or you walk outside?
No, I drive.
Okay, yeah, because if you have a car, you put the heater and then you don't.
It's not a big deal. Only a few minutes cold.
Yeah. For me, I walk maybe sometime 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm a little skinny, so and.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And I don't like the cold, I come from a hot country, I like the beach and the coconut,
So what is your, like if you go to China for 2 years or 3 years to get your Mandarin to a really perfect situation level, like what's your, like what do you want to do, like your personal goal to like have a good career and to have some other hobby, to achieve something, to be a thinker?
I don't know. I was thinking at first my plan was not to learn the language, and I'm learning the language. And at first my plan was not to study public management. I went to school in economics and finance or computer science. I got accepted in computer science, but I ended up not studying in computer science.
That's a good one, to be honest. The computer developers are gonna rule the world.
Yeah.
They're gonna rule everything.
Yeah. But right now, plans kind of change over time. So I would like to stay a little bit, like maybe in China or Taiwan, or in a place where I can practice. But you got to come back here eventually because you need to share your knowledge about the region. And I would see myself maybe working in foreign relations, or if not, maybe in business consulting. I think it's important for some businesses to help understanding that in the future the region is going to be a very important economic hub in the world. Not just China, but also the other countries like Vietnam, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, all those countries that are economically very advanced, and their growth.
What do you think of the India?
India is also a good economic hub.
Do you think that one day they're gonna get close to China? You see a lot of CEOs are from India.
There's a lot of CEOs from India.
That's crazy. All the big corporations, Google, Facebook, their CEOs, they all like, even the previous Twitter CEO who was fired by Elon Musk was Indian.
Oh, yeah. I know that the country, they have land dispute. I think as long as it's the same political system, the same dynamics, I don't think it's gonna get resolved anytime soon.
No, I mean the economic power.
India is already 5th, 4th, no?
But it's not close to China though.
No, it's not close. But I think
are they gonna catch up well? Because they have population.
They have population, but someone told me that they're gonna catch up, but it's not gonna be fast as China. Because the problem is that China's advantage is that it's one-party system that dictate how we plan the economy, and it worked at first when Deng Xiaoping was like the party leader to attract foreign investment. India has foreign investment also, but the problem is that when you're only the sole person taking the decision, whereas in India you have like different parties taking multiple directions, you can, for 4 years you can do something, and then the next 4 is going to be someone else who's gonna do something else and change the trajectory of the country. So,
but United States the same, but they can do well.
They did well. Yeah, the answer is the same, but their economic development really took off after after World War II, when Europe was destroyed. And usually, what the U.S. did is Britain didn't have any money. We're going to give you money. We're going to rebuild Europe for you, but and
the Marshall Plan, right?
The Marshall Plan. And then,
jeez, you kind of you did some really serious study.
Yeah. So the Marshall Plan, and then in exchange, we're gonna take over international trade. So basically, the U.S. has a naval fleet that protects the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Oceans, where they control the trade routes of the world. That's what the U.S. does with Europe and with Western partners. Yeah. So the U.S. has been put in a very great advantage because they were lending money, and then
but when you lend money, that means you produce stuff. They did have the industrial output was amazing.
Yeah, they did have the industrial output. They were lending money, and
they did produce. If you don't produce, how do you lend?
Yeah, but at the same time, also they decided. Everybody agreed that the global currency was going to be the U.S. dollar. Yeah. That's how the U.S. kind of
even today, that's the best dominance, the best weapon.
The best weapon, and they control
like Russia. What they did to Russia.
Yeah. I mean, the world. That's the dynamic of the world. I think
you think a lot about this. What do you think of the left and the right in the United States right now?
They cannot reach an agreement.
So that would be the problem of the empire. So the empire gonna go down, the ship gonna sink, or is it gonna take a while to sink like a Titanic?
I think it's gonna take a while before it sinks.
But or it's sink at all. Maybe it's floating well.
The U.S. has a strong institution, but the problem is when the government is paralyzed, when there's the extreme or too extreme, and nobody can cooperate on a bipartisan level. That's the problem. And then you got the far right, the far left.
Right now, regarding China, it looks like both parties they kind of 100% agreement.
Yeah, because the thing in China is a one-party system, and it's a different political system. And in the U.S., the only way the U.S. can fall is it's hard to make a big country like the U.S. fall.
Probably they're doing fine, or like they're on the way down. But I like a joke I recently, like who said that joke? I guess it's like about Titanic. They said it takes a huge ship like Titanic to fall to have a good movie about Titanic.
Yeah.
The best outcome of the Titanic fall is the movie.
Yeah. It's the
James
best
Cameron's movie.
Yeah.
And Leonardo DiCaprio, best performance, right, is a star coming from that movie.
But the rise of another power is the fall of another one, apparently. But I think the U.S. can decline. It's a little bit like Russia. Russia has the most nuclear nuke in the world.
But Russia was never good, never powerful economically. Because if you don't have economy, you don't have real power.
But the U.S. is scared to start a direct war with Russia because all of those nuclear arsenal. The U.S. will be a little bit like the same thing. They will have all the military forces, strong economy, but maybe less dominant than it is right now. Maybe we could see a stagnant economy like Japan, but for the U.S. version.
What do you mean?
Like Japan was supposed to take over U.S. at a certain point, economically.
Oh yeah, 1980s, whatever. They were really scared. Right?
Yeah. And then at a certain point, it stopped because there was like.
That's like about internet took off, like information technology, like really American United States was really kind of
and there was
took off.
There was also the Asian financial crisis that didn't help really Japan to take off, like to be like the dominant player economically. But it's still third, just behind China.
Japan is pretty strong economy.
But
China is like with the population, with the world factory, with the economy,
manufacturing,
it's amazing.
And one of the things I think U.S. will continue to be maybe a dominant or declining dominant players. Immigration, they always have immigration.
Yeah, always some new people, new blood.
New people, new blood. Whatever country they come from, they will take you. Canada is also the same thing. But the countries where they have less immigration, India right now is okay, it's growing. But what if in 50 years when the population is going to be old, are they going to be an immigration country? Less so.
But so you see, United States, everybody says it's polarizing, right? It's dividing. But whose fault is that? Is that Trump's fault? Do you think it's?
I think it's social media.
It's not Trump's fault. But Trump was crazy. Like a lot of people saying he's crazy.
It's crazy, but the politics and the
Always
US
like that,
was always polarized. Always polarized. And I think a lot of people say that when Barack Obama was elected,
but he was great. He was a great speaker.
But there was some people in the country that was.
I remember his great speech. The end is no blue America, no red America. There's only United States of America, right? That's the best speech. I was like learning my English from that speech.
Yeah. But there's. I always think that the reason why the man became president, like Donald Trump, is because at a certain point Barack Obama was making fun of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump didn't like the fact that a president like Barack Obama.
But Trump was after him at first because
he thought he was not American.
Yeah, exactly. The Hawaii, the birth certificate was like. That's Trump's fault because he started the war. Right? So he started with. It was not letting me go.
You didn't want to let the.
Exactly. Even after the paper was published, right?
Yeah.
And he's still like saying like, right? It's annoying. If you are the president and then there's a billionaire just like after you every day, like you will be pissed too.
But I think that's the reason why he decided to be president.
And Obama said you can never be, right? You can never be. All the Tom Hanks too. All the famous people saying there's no way, no chance.
He's coming back.
Yeah, I heard that. That's But the social media is really, dominant. It's a new era of the social media. Just changed everything. Before, where do you get news? Where do you talk about? Is you always watch cable news, right?
Yeah.
Then everybody can have their own voices.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of, you get the news like you used to have the mainstream media, those kind of big guys. Now you don't have to listen to them. You have other people either spreading rumor or misinformation or disinformation or all kind of information. People can talk to each other directly, and you have certain followers. They have certain followers. So the influence is going to overlap like over each other or whatever, and then somehow you form your own opinion. You know,
that was the whole campaign of misinformation of social media, and that didn't help. Also, that's why like politics got so polarized that people didn't want to listen to the news. But getting the news is one way of getting information. You need to do your own research. Like it's not like a little bit like a scientist where you read news article, or if you don't know something about some political or economic concept or scientific concept, you need to do the research. People, they don't want to do the research.
Nobody doing the Google. Nobody doing the research.
No.
It's called you are fed with the information, right? The information come to you.
Yeah, they want to get and me too. I've become so lazy. We've become so lazy that we prefer sometimes to be fed the information.
Yeah, fed with the information.
And then,
but you have to go out to seek for information.
Exactly. That's seek the truth by yourself. And then sometimes there's certain things that you will take, certain things that you will disregard. That's because some of the information, you know that this is not true. And then,
but some of them, remember at the beginning, the laptop, the famous laptop story. When it came out, we just saw it. It's cannot be true.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody said it.
I was too young. I was too young.
No. Yeah. The Hunter's laptop. You know the story of the laptop with Hunter Biden?
No, I don't know the story.
See, that's the. Okay, then let's skip that. that's
no. You tell me.
No, that's very controversial now.
Okay.
I thought you knew already, but
no, I don't. It's the Hunter's laptop.
Yeah, it was a real story, but then the main media said it's fake. It's fake.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right before the 2020 election. Right before a week or 2 weeks before that, it's a huge scandal. It's detrimental, huge blow to supposed to be Biden, to his family. But then
the son of Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hunter.
I know a little bit about the story,
and then the New York Post, it's a right wing. I don't know what right, but it's a little bit conservative newspaper.
Yeah.
New York Post posted a story, reported the story. Then the New York Post was suspended by Twitter. Saying it's fake or whatever, the Russian misinformation. They put everything on the Russian. so then all the main media said it's fake news. It's not true, fake news. So we saw that it's too crazy, the story. It's too crazy. It must not be true. And also all the main media say it's fake, so it must be fake. But then recently, 2 years after, they said it's 100% true. Even the main media saying, it's true, verified, but it's taking 2 years.
But that came at a time where there was the re-election campaign, right?
Yeah, 2020, right before.
Yeah.
So otherwise it would be,
Well, I mean, somebody gotta had a lot of money to declare that was fake. Because
yeah, exactly. The Twitter did the first. Twitter just banned the New York Post on Twitter. So it's a big newspaper, and then it's supposed to be.
So the president of the election would have been a total different outcome from that.
But it's huge scandal. If you Google it today, you will see. Right now, it's verified by New York Times, CBS, all these big news right now say, it's true, but it's after 2 years.
Yeah,
seriously.
That's the thing. I think when you're saying that Elon Musk bought Twitter back, and then I think that those mega giant tech company, they have a lot of control about the information that
it's the social media is the new thing. It's gonna challenge everything. The people used to think this way. When you have the election, you try to fight. So societies have to fight each other. Whatever you smear and you tell fake things, but then you go through the traditional channels. You have one camp, another camp. You have your own affiliations or some media like you on your side on the spectrum. So they kind of spread the news. But then you have the social media. They have way more influence than those traditional media actually.
Their big problem is the algorithm. Is the moment you like something that's, for example, that is misinformation, you will be fed the same content over and over.
The algorithm, algorithm is it's everything. I'm telling you, everything is a computer. If you have to learn the computer, it's the programmers. They rule the world. The financial system, everything. It will be a computer and social media, and then also the blockchain, the cryptocurrency. Everything will be on. They hack you if you have money. Right now, you don't have to rob the bank. You just need to rob a hacker password.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's because they developed those. I guess it would be cryptocurrency would be the first time created by programmers. You know, those things, there's no money there. It's out of nowhere. It's computing power.
Yeah.
All those programs, blockchain technology on the network running those nodes, they were created literally by the programmers.
Yeah.
Those programmers just before they were working for some business to provide some services to get their payments, get their money. Now they can create money, the digital gold. They create digital gold by themselves.
What do you think about the digitalization of the currency, like the U.S. or Canada trying to digitalize the money?
That's centralized digitalization. Digital currency is different from the crypto. Crypto is decentralized.
Yeah.
So there's no central bank, no control. So it's kind of I'm an engineer, so my understanding is like the trust is by voting.
Mm-hmm.
The trust by the decentralizing all the nodes, they're doing the hashing calculation.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as majority of the nodes approve one rate, one records or the ledger, whatever the thing,
mm-hmm.
make sure it's true, authentic, it's authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of the central bank saying like I print money, it's true. But the decentralized, the cryptocurrency, those things there's no anybody control. It's a collective by all the nodes on the network.
Yeah.
So as long as if you don't like this transaction or like this fact, you yourself cannot decide it's fake.
Mm.
It's invalid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unless you have the computing power of over 50%. So that's how they come with the consensus. Mm-hmm. So you only have the consensus, that's the decentralized.
But not a lot of people trust the decentralized currency like cryptocurrency like Bitcoins or Ethereum, and I'm seeing like a governmental approach.
To that one that's only added the convenience. That's all. That's nothing new. It's like the paper money, the same thing.
They will have better control of the money supply.
Exactly. That's better. Personal opinion. You don't use them. If you use more digitalized, they can shut down you anything. Like they can tell your money you have $100 in your digital wallet. They can tell you this $100 you can only buy bread, not milk. Oh. So exactly, if they have that granular control, it's only do bad things to you. So it means you give more control to a central figure, central government. They are way more powerful than individuals. They are 1,000 times stronger than you. If one day they said, "Oh, you are not following the curfew," so sorry, cannot go to air. You cannot take taxi. You cannot buy bread.
Do you remember there was like the Freedom Convoy, and then the people they had Bitcoin accounts, and the government just decided to shut down the account. You remember about this?
Yeah. They shut down their bank account.
Yeah.
But imagine if everything was digital wallet from the digital currency of central government, they can say, okay, you have $100 here, no problem, but you cannot spend on anything.
If you're protesting, then we're gonna shut down the wallet so that you'll stop doing what you're doing. Because that's what they did at the Freedom Convoy.
So the cash is the real cash. The cash, without knowing, exchange hands.
Yeah.
That's the real power of cash.
Yeah.
So without being monitored, I give you $100, you give me, nobody knows except you and me.
Yeah.
But if you have the app on your cell phone, they can say this $100 freeze.
It's trackable.
Yeah. Or they can literally tell you can only use this on which gas station. Mm. You can only use it on gas, or you can on this gas station Esso.
Wow.
Or the Shell. You know, it's very easy to control. But at the same time, it's convenient. You know, some people, they want to get into the trap to be convenient. Oh, it's so easy. Just scan the code, pay. Scan the code, everything is so convenient. But the problem is if it stop working and you can do nothing.
You remember when the world, this summer, like that just passed, there was like a world shutdown of the Rogers system.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody could make any single transaction.
Exactly.
I was working. Yeah. I wanted to buy some food. So I went to a store. Then the lady said, "You can't buy food, only cash." But I don't keep cash. I mean, it's COVID. Everybody was didn't want to owe
Yeah,
cash because
exactly.
they were scared of the
Yeah,
COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
And every time I have cash, I go home, I wash the cash and the bathroom. So I don't want to keep cash because it's so convenient to just to pay because you don't carry the germs.
Yeah, yeah.
And then shut down, cannot buy food.
It's the thing. All this new stuff, I'm a little bit late adapter, to be honest. Myself I'm not early adapter at all. I only see the things that mature for some time. I say, let's go, let's jump in, but not the beginning. The early adapter, those kind of risk takers. I'm not.
If there's a new chip that we put in our brain to become more intelligent,
no, not for me. Not for me.
Will you do it ever one day?
But if 90% of the population got the chip already, it's a problem. Go with the flow. Okay. I'm that kind of but like all this kind of new stuff, it's better to my personal assessment would be the benefit and the cost. You know, you have benefit of convenience, but sometimes you spend your money. You don't have to be that fast. The slower the better. You are spending money. It's not like too convenient for you to spend money. Too easy to spend money. That's a huge benefit. It's a little bit improvement. It's not like crazy benefits. And then at the same time, the cost, the detrimental stuff is like one day somebody gonna shut you down in case something you say something or do something they don't like. They're gonna shut you 100% down. You can no longer with your money in your digital wallet. You can no longer buy anything you like, or they tell you can only buy certain things, or the basic food. Okay. Milk, egg, bread, fine. But electronics, no. Cell phones, no. Travel, no. Taxi, no. Right?
They're gonna have total control on what we do, what we say, and then where we can go.
Yeah, because if they don't like you. They don't like you because you always say, I don't like your policies. You know, I don't like you are something. You know, you have your opinions. You know, some people have strong opinion. Me, I have mild opinion. I don't want to offend anybody. I have really, tiny voice. Just want to say, this cannot be. Will that be better? I'm not saying like, you are wrong. I say, can we do this way or a little bit that way?
You're like I said, you're not aggressive. You're not like
exactly.
You like to have a consensus with people, and then you have a more pragmatic approach, right?
Just little bit. It's not too crazy. Some people too crazy is I'm not. Even sometimes they're right, correct, but I say not very kind of extreme.
Yeah, but it's good to know that the owner is an engineering background. Is very interested about space.
I'm a very logical guy. I like engineering, logic.
But that part comes to the fact that you're in the engineering field.
Very computer science. Logical that's the bad thing as well. You are too logical. Sometimes it's not good to your life.
You think too much.
Think too much.
A lot of people said that to me because a lot of people said that to me also.
You think too much. It's your habit because it's too logical is like something you want to know the reasons. A lot of time you want to. That's why it's like heavy. It's like the life. It's kind of you are trained engineering background. Sometimes give you the occupational, vocational, damage, whatever. You always think too much.
So if someone gives you $100, you will question the reason why this person is giving you $100 versus someone who's gonna just take the $100.
Exactly. Or I'm gonna think about later on. It's even like today you're gonna think about what is the plan next few years when you're old, or when you're very old, you kind of look back, you did not do anything very kind of or some major. Always follow the flow, follow whatever else, have a full-time job, raising family. But at the end, you did not do anything you wanted to do. You did not achieve something a little bit significant, or something you are proud of. You just live your 60, 70 years old. You just live your time and then done. Shut off, turn off the computer. That's all. You finish.
You finish.
And then
one lot.
and you did not do anything like you find interesting, or you find is kind of something you can tell, that's the meaning of life, That's why I'm saying like you have your good at French, English, and then one day Chinese very good, and then beside working, you have to think about, be a commentator. You think about Americans politics, maybe, But you are probably in the middle, right, left, or there.
I'd say I'm more like in the middle, because I'm a little bit like you. Like I don't necessarily think that logical, because I'm not from the field of computer science, unfortunately, because I didn't choose that path. But I'm more reflective. So basically, I think a little bit like a philosopher, whereas like why, like I would like what is management in terms like philosophical way? Well, what is like what is this? Why do we do that? Why should we do it like this? And I always like try to challenge myself to put myself into reflection and say, why shouldn't I do that? What's the end goal? How should I do that? Yeah, for those reasons, that's the reason why I think too much. That's the way it is, and I think the best thing in life is always to be in the middle. I think, because you're able to understand both sides.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to create conflicts when you're in the middle. You want everybody to come up to a consensus where everybody can agree on something, compromise also, like make some compromise and come to an agreement. I think that's
a lot of people saying like Trump is a little bit extreme, right? Is that true?
Yeah, he's extreme. Yeah.
But that would be a bad thing for him to run again, right?
I think it's a bad thing also for the whole country, also the diplomatic relations between the other countries also. Because I think there could be a spillover. Because right now here we have like Trudeau. It's not even majority. It's a minority government with an alliance with the
NDP.
Yeah. So eventually, like the election, that's the midterm. So 2024 is the election.
No, I don't think so. It's like 4 years.
No, for US.
Oh, for
2 years.
Oh, yeah, already passed. 2020 already passed. Midterm already passed.
Yeah, it was the midterms like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so,
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and then 1 month ago.
This is a defeat. That's a defeat for Trump, though.
It's not a defeat. He didn't. They did good, like because I would say it's like 50-50. It's still divided. The U.S. institution is still divided, but he didn't do as he expected. He expected the Republicans to dominate.
Yeah, exactly.
But they didn't. They don't dominate.
Yeah, that's the failure. Lot of them they attribute that to Trump.
Yeah, Trump's failure.
Yeah, Trump's failure, because normally the sitting president's party is gonna do a little bit worse in the midterm, especially when your approving rate is like around 40, right? That would be really bad for your party in the midterm. Then did not happen. Just you lose a little bit ground, but not much.
The Democrats in the Senate or in the Congress, they were kind of able to consolidate not their dominance, but to keep what they had.
But then that's a bad thing for the Republicans to have Trump to rerun.
Exactly, because they don't know that they didn't win enough. They didn't win as much seat as they wanted. So they don't know if this guy can be fitted to be president, to be the leader of the party, to be the president.
But other guy was very popular. Is who's the guy?
The governor of Florida.
Yeah, that guy.
DeSantis.
Yeah.
DeSantis.
It's popular within Republicans too.
Yeah, but this guy is
He's very young. He's 70. He's the same age of me.
Yeah, but this guy is. When COVID was really, really bad in the US, the guy let everything open.
Okay.
Do you remember when the spring break?
Yeah.
There was like
first year.
Yeah.
Spring break.
The students were having party, and no mask, no nothing. and the beach. They were having fun. Whereas here, my spring break, I was locked down and curfew, couldn't go out. Online classes, whereas those students in the US, they could literally have fun. So if you want to travel to the US and avoid COVID lockdowns, you don't go to New York, you don't go to Chicago, Seattle, you go to Florida, Miami.
But the problem is why he won the popularity this midterm. Because that's huge win for himself.
He wants to run. He's one of the best candidates to run for president.
Yeah, but the whole policy he did in the province, in the state, kind of it's more welcomed by its people, its own people.
Yeah.
You see that it's a landslide.
Yeah.
But that means like the policy you said is not good. Probably the local people there, they enjoy it.
Yeah, they enjoyed it. In Florida, they did enjoy it because little you know, Florida is a conservative state. There's a lot of people, minorities
from
Latin America,
Latinos.
Yeah, and they're very religious, and the religion and that side is Catholicism or the Protestants, whatever the Christianism, they are like this with the conservatives. So for that reason, I think he can get the votes of the Latinos in the U.S. He has chance, honestly, to run for presidency.
Yeah. So he's. So you mean even he's super popular in the state, but he may not be popular within the
northern state. Like.
But he's really. I think he's not. He does not have a lot of experience. He's 1978. He was born.
Yeah.
And his wife was super young, super pretty.
Yeah, Barack Obama the same thing. He didn't have any experience, but the thing is he going to be is this president can like bring together both sides to one common side? That's the thing.
But Barack Obama, maybe he failed the promise for the colored people. At the beginning, people had a high hope, right?
Yeah.
But then 8 years, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. It's like you wouldn't know it's a black president. It could be another Bush.
Yeah.
That 8 years, you did not tell any difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of resistance in the U.S. A lot of resistance.
But even himself, he did not try. He's like the first few years. You don't see this guy is looks like he's behaving like a Bush or whatever, the white president. Is not like he's trying. If you try, failed is another thing.
Yeah.
He did not try to bring the
Honestly, I think you're right because a lot of people, I don't see any.
Maybe
everybody was inspired by the president, but
after 8 years, it's like a lukewarm water, right? It's like a business as usual.
Yeah, it's business as usual. He saved the economy, and he's one of the presidents that really created like this kind of technological war against and ISIS or with the drones and everything.
But that's another controversial. He killed a lot of people, innocent people as well.
Yeah, and
the drones.
There's another controversy also where he has certain countries on their surveillance. You remember he was like monitoring some presidents like in.
Oh yeah. Germany, even the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Her phone was being monitored. I was like the NSA scandal. What's the name of the guy?
That's Snowden.
Did you watch the movie?
Yeah. I saw that movie.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. But that's under Obama.
That's under Obama. There was so many scandals of like surveillance.
Yeah. That's why it doesn't matter like you black, you white, you Asian, you Hispanic. As long as you're in the game, you're probably part of them, not in your race, your color.
The elite of political elite, the business elite.
You
do what you're being told, and
It's seriously like 8 years. A lot of people really thought like, it's change of new era, but nothing happened. It's
at least a lot. The country was not that polarized.
Yeah, but he was a popular figure. He was really good at speaking. He was really smart, intelligent, and he's playing great basketball.
Yeah.
And also he's really he's really good at the comics. He tells also great jokes. he's good at jokes as well. So
Yeah.
his personality, charismatic, is no match in the recent history. I guess it's almost like very very charming, very very. Even today, he get most Twitter followers. It's still today.
Yeah, still today. Even a lot of people, they were asking why to run for presidency again, like Michelle Obama to be like.
Oh, people saying like actually this year, this 2024. No, actually 2024. They said, oh, Michelle gonna run.
Michelle gonna run?
Yeah. They said seriously. I was told. I when did you read news? I read news everywhere. I was reading some news because that's why when like I guess 60 Minutes would have a big organization asking Michelle about do you support like Joe Biden to run again? He said it's too early to say whatever he's not answering. Do you support him rerun? Like he said, not answering right now. Normally, you're gonna say I support, right?
Yeah.
Because your husband best buddy. And you same party. Actually, probably gonna be smart for her to run because she has the popularity support. You know, she kind of that would be like a house of what is the
House of
cards?
Cards.
Yeah, that's like
yeah.
that would be too close to that.
Yeah, too close to that. I was expecting maybe Hillary Clinton to run again, but maybe because of
she's done.
She's done.
She got too much, you know. Somehow I don't know why she got so much hatred or like.
It's because of the Ben. There was a scandal like. I don't remember that she was.
Benghazi.
Yeah, Benghazi.
Oh, the what is the embassy? What is the what is the name of the how to see the chief of the diplomat, the embassy.
The ambassador.
Yeah, the ambassador. The ambassador was killed himself because of her decision or something. Seriously, that ambassador was killed.
Yeah, even Trump said that she was gonna put her in jail but he didn't end up putting her in jail.
But what was I did not know. But everybody said it's her fault or something.
Apparently it's her fault. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know the details.
I don't know the details too much, but it was so big that's the reason why.
Because the Secretary of State is supposed to be in charge of all those kind of diplomats, right?
Yeah.
That she was in the position to make calls,
to
make decisions.
You know, she lost, but she's the presidential candidate versus Trump that got the most popular vote. She received more popular vote from the American citizens than Donald Trump. But Donald Trump won more electoral delegates to win the presidency. Again, Trump was not supposed to win. And then with Biden got it like so thin. Sometimes I just think like, how is that even possible?
He did not even campaign.
No.
It was so he was in the basement all the time.
And he's not going to campaign for his re-election. He said, because at first, I don't know, I'm not sure, but he said at a certain point that he's not going to go for a re-election.
He said he would.
He would?
Yeah, he said.
Okay. Maybe he changed his mind, but he said at a certain point that he would not.
He's very old. You see,
how old is he?
Close to 80. Oh, 80 years old already. Because like several days ago, it was his birthday.
Yeah,
Mr. President's birthday.
Yeah.
But you can tell his condition is not good at all. His condition is like was reading every time his press conference is like to read from the card, and also the reporters who ask questions on the card already. Have you seen those conferences?
I don't
the press conference.
I do see them when I have the time, but not.
It's amazing. Look, okay, I was told to let this reporter to ask. Okay, this name from Fox News or this person from CNN. He's like asking the name of the journalist, and he has a card to read the answer.
he's the president, but I think he's got a big team that are drafting policies for himself. I don't think he's not the one calling the shot for the country. And I think there's a lot of
maybe Obama still.
the previous presidents can still give their advice. They have like they have what we call the security, not security codes, but they have like access to certain intelligence. Because sometimes when you're ex-president,
no, but his ex-president, what is that called?
Presidential.
Yeah. No, his previous president is Trump.
Trump, yeah.
It's not Obama, it's Trump.
Yeah, it's Trump, but
we're not buddies.
Yeah, they're not buddies, but they have access to give some.
They all have the clearance.
Yeah, the clearance.
Yeah, even the Trump has the.
That's what I wanted to say. The clearance. Right now we have like Clinton,
George
W. Bush. His father was passed away. Just Jimmy Carter is still alive, but it's very old.
It's 70s, 80s, right?
Yeah, but the ones that are alive and maybe they still have their brains is like Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump. Yeah.
Seriously, where do you read your news from? Get the information from?
I'm still at university, so I get to read a lot. I have a backpack full of papers. Sometimes I have some papers about like American.
New York Times?
No.
New York Times is so expensive.
I don't read New York Times. I read like the briefings. Like for example, yesterday Canada put up a new policy for the Indo-Pacific strategy.
Actually, I read that from when I was learning. I was checking. But why the hell do we have that strategy? Are we so influential? Who cares about your strategy?
I mean,
that's the region far from, like, you don't have the influence, you don't have a saying of that region. If you say United States has the Indo-Pacific policy, okay.
I read the paper yesterday afternoon because it's on the website of the Global Safari Canada, so you can look it up. But this is where I get my information.
Yeah. What does it say?
It says
the strategy.
The strategy is to bolster investment in the region. Yeah. Basically, Canada's strategy is not to be invested in one single country like China, but to be involved in the region where China is also investing. This strategy is
competing?
Yeah, they want to compete alongside with the Europeans, the Australians, the Americans, and the Indo-Pacific region because.
So they make buddies with United States, European, and then to compete against
Japan, South Korea, because they all have an Indo-Pacific strategy. Well, Japan and South Korea and China also, they will the first to be involved in the Indo-Pacific because they knew that eventually when they will grow up economically, the population will get whole and richer. So all those chain supply of values, they will transfer them in the lower income countries like the Indo-Pacific. If we exclude Singapore, but to transfer those manufacturers back to those lower.
Jeez, that's kind of making China is the enemy. That's kind of literally kind of taking the money away from China to to the other. Indonesia would be huge because the population there, the size. And India, Vietnam.
Because the thing is that the US wants to compete, wants to be the dominant player, and they want to compete in a way that they will remain the dominant player, and they will let China grow, but in their own terms.
That's the same. That's not good.
It's not good for
China.
For China. But
that's like the same way they do things like not the United States. They cannot compete with China alone. They bring a lot of bodies together. Let's team up together to. It's like Artemis. The same thing. It's too costly, right? It's too expensive. Let's bring all other countries to pay for this program.
Because the thing is, if we look at from a dominant player standpoint, you're number one. You want to stay number one. But China is the country that
catching up.
is catching. They catch up because
Fast.
most of the cities in China they're very very rich, very very huge. I was told that a city like Wenzhou, is bigger than Montreal.
For the Chinese community here,
Yeah.
we always call Montreal is the village.
Yeah.
Exactly. The Chinese city, a lot of cities, way better than Montreal,
And
like infrastructure wise. Like,
and they will say, and I will tell them, 你在蒙特尔多久？1年了。你喜欢蒙特尔吗？Do you like Montreal？ 这里不是中国。
It's not China.
Yeah, and then Montreal, and I have some friends that they're from Cameroon, whatever. They studied because some certain African country, they have good relation with China, and they went there and they said, it's crazy. Like when I come in Montreal, it's like it's behind. It's 10 years behind certain small cities in China, and then that's the reason why that China catch up really fast, and they're catching up. They're not catching up anymore. They're advancing, and the U.S. is scared because if a country like China is being able to advance economically, technologically, militarily, it means that politically can spread its influence against over countries.
Even without so much power, all the small countries around China and influence, like it's the backyard. It's like Cuba to United States.
Exactly.
It's a backyard.
So,
and with the power right now, the economy, the military power, it's very easy.
Yeah. And if just to look at the Chinese investments across the world, you got APEC. APEC just not includes Asian countries, but also countries that borders the Pacific, like in South America, they are members of APEC also. Chinese investments are also in Latin America, also in Canada, and US they ban Chinese investment right now because of the competition. But every country like Japan, South Korea, they all had the Asian Indo-Pacific strategy. Canada was the only one not to have one. Australia had one because it is in the Indo-Pacific, and Canada has like a good relation with the US, and the way where Canada is being placed in the global world, it has access directly to the Pacific for international trade and to the Atlantic. It didn't make any sense for Canada not to be involved in the Indo-Pacific and have a specific strategy for Japan, specific strategy for South Korea, specific strategy for China, in order to better the investment. But right now, this strategy is not to better investment; it's to counterbalance. China.
It's counterbalance. It's the big. I'm Chinese. I lived there for 27 years. It's inevitable. Sometimes China will dominate. It's somehow because people there is just working way harder than people here. The Elon Musk fired a lot of the Twitter employees. Those employees in China, they cannot find work. In the IT field, we call 996.
996.
Yeah, 996. Even the best IT companies in China, they do the 996. But look at people, but I'm not saying it's good, but like the people in the Twitter, they don't want to work 40 hours a week. It's different mentality.
I saw the videos like from certain people working in tech. It's like I go to a restaurant, drink an expensive cocktail, and at night I go to another restaurant, drink fancy food because I make a lot of money, good money in tech. And I know what's the story of people working in tech companies.
Yeah, it's crazy because the whole mentality, the work ethic is like 3 times more. Like one person, like there in China, just one person in the United States or Canada, maybe 5 times. 5 people working in Canada maybe equals 1 people working in China. They just work much harder than you with the population, like billions of people, not billions, hundreds of millions of people working that hard together. Naturally, it's gonna produce a lot of stuff. The value is produced, either the products which is dominating the world. It's maybe half of the whole population of the world, whole products. Overall, everything, like maybe half of the products are made in China. And you have services as well. And the services is amazing. They kind of, you have food, everything here, there, all kinds of services. So people working extremely hard, and a huge amount of population. And on the other side of the world, some people like in Canada, United States is working harder than Canada. So you just relaxing, you relax too much. It's like over the time they will catch up for sure.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time because you relax too much. You enjoy the beach, you drink beer every day, you party, you do this kind of drugs, that kind of drugs. People working like 100 hours a day, a week there. Like that's IT. 996 is the IT, supposed to be highly paid, like professionals, though are really well educated. Look at the people on the bottom, the construction workers. All those other people, they work way harder. Their life much harder. It's kind of a different.
But I was told that Jojo Leo is like common for every, whether it's in business, whether it's in
996 is for good companies.
Good companies.
Yeah, the better companies is more than that.
Yeah. Oh.
You work more than that.
Oh, okay. So you're telling like the 996 is just the
it's
bottom.
No, 996 is the top companies.
It's the top companies.
Yeah.
So it's the better conditions.
Yeah, it's the better conditions.
And the less good company is like the harder conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
So where it's like
it's work more.
Shoo.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that's the all the famous.
Shoo Leo.
Yeah. It's all the famous company, IT company, which was the top 100.
Tencent.
Yeah, Tencent. Yeah, they all do this. They are the top companies.
Even the tech companies, Western tech companies in China is Jojo Leo, right?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
They follow we have the labor law as well, but they just not follow. It's kind of they give you the incentive, but you do some of them for these big companies like Tencent or the Alibaba, they do make relatively a lot of money comparing to the same work experience with other average companies. They make more money. That's the incentive, motivation for young folks to work more hours.
Okay.
So it's kind of everything is money motivated.
Mm-hmm.
So the young people like out of school, fresh, full of energy,
it's like working for a consulting company where you're young, working consulting, and
just burn out fast.
But they're gonna make you work like crazy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you know those big companies like McKinsey or
I know
Burns.
That's consultant.
They make you work like crazy and consulting, and then because they know in the next 5 years you're gonna quit. But I was told that I have a friend who actually went to work. He graduated in engineering. He went to work in China for 1 year, almost 2 years. And he was doing some technical writing. He couldn't find a job in Canada for some reason when right away he graduated. He worked so hard. He told me he had good grades, but he couldn't find a job. So one of his friends told him that he could do like an internship or work in China for 1 year or 2 years. He did it. He liked it, but one of the things he told me, that was back then. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't really know much about the country, like or the language. I didn't really have any interest in learning like the language, whatever. But he told me one thing that stuck in my head is that in China people work a lot, and he was required, even if he was a foreigner, to work 6 days a week.
Yeah, 6 days a week was normal.
Yeah, 6 days a week.
Yeah. Even I was working there, the top company, my company was one of the top ones. I was 6 days a week.
So, and I was looking at some Chinese social media, even though I didn't have some comprehension of the language, and I could see some of the things that are coming back for the Westerners working in tech companies in China is that one of the grudge that they have is that the Westerners, they can come in the tech company in China and make very, very good money, even more than the Chinese over there, and they work 5 days a week. Whereas the Chinese, they make good money, but they have to work 9 hours a day and 6 days a week, and sometimes come on a Sunday. morning, just the morning, just to
No,
do some stuff and leave in the afternoon.
996 is not 9 hours a day, it's 12 hours a day.
12 hours a day.
It means 996 is 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah.
And then 6
12
days
hours
a week.
a day. Yeah. 12 hours. Okay, well, that's
So worst, worst is 007. So 12. No, it's a joke. 12 007.
Yeah, 007.
But it's the
Like you don't have a job.
Yeah. But it's the problem is like you have a good side, you have bad side.
Yeah.
It's the Canada, United States, especially Canada. Like you have a bad safety net.
Yeah.
So if you have a social safety net, and you give people the comfort of the calm, you feel calm. You don't feel abandoned if you lose a job.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's your own problem, or sometimes you just have your difficulties.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of having a social safety net.
Yeah.
But in China, a lot of time the bottom people, they don't have that kind of good
luxury.
Yeah, safety net. So it's kind of you are forced. You kind of one side is part of its motivation. You want to make more money to support the family. Mm-hmm. Another part is because the social safety net is too little. So you have to take care of yourself. So you're forced to work really hard. Okay. And also you are competing with other people working more harder than you.
Yeah.
So it's
but it's hard to
it's two different systems, but overall you will see the output.
But it's hard to come up as a leader if everybody works hard. It's a lot of competition.
No, the leader will be harder or smarter. The leaders, they don't work more than you. Probably they're just smarter than you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's here the same. Like you see the directors or something, the VPs, they don't work every day like that hard. They go party. They have social drinking. Yeah. Right. They have connections.
Yeah, they call the shots. They have connection. They're smarter.
Yeah, they connection. They have little club, right? They have little connections. The little circles.
Yeah, it's a little bit like an MBA connection. Like you have an MBA, it's and the best university in the U.S. an MBA is $200,000, but it gives you a ticket to connection to connect with other people. If you don't have that $200,000, then.
But the nation, back to the whole nation power, without any interruption, China will rise up really quickly. But right now, what's happening right now, or the COVID thing could be interruption, could be potential. That's why a lot of people still, especially if I do hope you get really good at reading and writing. That would be amazing. If you see the news or the articles in Chinese and English, it's
different, huh?
It's totally two different words.
Yeah.
On the internet. So if you can read both languages, that would be amazing. You will see one thing they are saying in Chinese report this way, in English will be the report that way. Or you can know a lot of news in Chinese language. It's amazing. It's happening because it's a huge country. It's a lot of people on the internet. People have half the population on the internet already. So everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a smartphone. Mm-hmm. So they have WeChat. WeChat is everything. Yeah. And then you have all the kind of Beeply, that kind of video platform.
Yeah.
All this kind of, if you read Chinese, you will find it's amazing. So people, all those kind of news, everything,
I figured that some of the things that are being said in the media or posts, the meaning is not the same, because sometimes I read it and it means this, but when it's translated, it changed. The meaning is changed, but it doesn't necessarily. You can when you are in the early stage, don't necessarily understand everything, but at a certain point, even if you don't understand fully what is being said, you know that what is being translated doesn't make any sense. Because you read the characters, you know that you have an overview of the idea of the communication that is being said. But when it's translated, you're like, I don't think it's this, because that's made something else.
Yeah. That's why it's good to, it's really, really amazing. You kind of really want to learn the language well. Because the same thing, I spent a lot of time learning English. It's amazing for me to get information in English online. Because if I rely on the translation, a lot of things could not be could be lost.
Yeah.
So I always like read everything in English, like original source. It's
right now, politically, what the U.S. is trying to do by getting its allies and partners on board is to slow down the growth of China. Because
Europe is not on the side of the United States.
Europe,
you don't count them. They have their own calculations.
They have their own calculation. Germany, for example, when is the first Western leader from the West who came to China. I don't count Antony Blinken, which is the Secretary of State of the United States. I'm talking about the head of the state come to China to discuss about certain policy. Until before the G20. After the G20, even Xi Jinping met with Joe Biden and everybody. But what is being told is that yes, Europe has a different strategy, but they have also an Indo-Pacific strategy. But it's not necessarily to cut off China from supply chain. The U.S. is trying to cut off the supply chain from China, and it's trying to convince the others to do the same. It got certain countries on board, like UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, by cutting.
It's all the parties. It's all the stable parties. They're all weather friends. All weather friends.
They cut off Huawei. They cut off for the 5G. They cut off so many companies from the students also. Like if you're Chinese from China and you want to study chemical engineering or a very precise field of technology or science, you're not allowed in China.
United States.
Yeah, United States. And if you work, if you're American and you work in a sector that is very important for the national economy, for the national security, because economy is a national threat. You cannot work in China if you're.
Is that for the high-end chips, right?
High-end chips.
Is that real?
That's real.
So implemented?
Yeah.
So what happened to those the high-ranking
engineers?
High-ranking people in the big companies.
They have to leave China.
So they left already?
I don't know, but
I thought this thing is not reasonable. Sometimes you cannot force people to make this kind of. Oh, next week if you want to stay, you're American citizen, but next week you pack up. Either you stay there or you we abandon you.
Biden.
It's not even legal.
Yeah, but Biden said at the end of the G20 that he will compete with China. I mean, the U.S. will compete with China, but he will set the rule for how U.S. and China will compete. He said U.S. he will.
That's not. But back to the engineers for chips. You cannot make that requirement.
And that's one of the rules that.
That's not legal. I think you cannot force people. If I'm working there, for example, I make good money. If I'm working there, those you cannot.
You could lose your citizenship.
Exactly. That's why it's not logical. It's not legal.
I don't know. I'm not a constitutional lawyer or international lawyer. I just read the news. And
I know. I read the same thing in Chinese. Actually, I saw. What the hell? Is this real? Because for example, if you're working there, you have great income. Maybe you have your family, your children there living there in the international school, and then next week you pack up, you leave. And how they give you the compensation package? Who's paying the package?
Two reasons. Right now, I'm taking a class, a semester level class, which is about political system of China and Taiwan. And I know that Taiwan, the global American defense system in Taiwan is the same as the American. So, and the chips are very important to develop.
It is very
military technologies, which is plane, missiles, ballistic missile, anything. And Taiwan and South Korea. South Korea is not a problem because there's enough military over there. Japan is not a problem; it's being protected. But Taiwan, is another thing. They will never. The U.S. will never let, I think, Taiwan go, because Taiwan is a defense system. It's the same defense system as the U.S. So if China take over Taiwan, China will have access to a wide range of American defense system. They will know exactly like how the American defense system works, the global defense system. So if I can see that the next 5 years now that Xi Jinping is party leader, is being elected, and is unlimited, if they try to take Taiwan in the next 3-5 years, because they expect to take it by 2025 or 2029 or something, then that could be a war again. And I was discussing that with the teacher, but right now there's a war in Ukraine, and the war in Ukraine could take years.
But China's military is way better than the Russians.
Yeah, it's way better, but this war between the Ukrainians and Russians could take years, and there's no solution yet. And the Americans said last week or 2 weeks ago that if you have a call for ceasefire or peace, you take it. They don't question, don't ask demands. If you can have peace right now, take it, because if they can solve the issue with the Russians, they can focus on
Taiwan.
Yeah, containing, because their policy is containing China. Right now, the U.S. policy is containing China. If we talk about politics, American politics right now, American policy right now is containing China's growth, because the growth of China is bad for the U.S. at the moment. That's what the policymakers believe, because they think that if China is being able to dominate, it will rewrite the international rules towards what they see fit for themselves.
But the problem is when they work really hard to achieve something, you don't stop them achieving. You work even harder. That's the mentality. The United States or something, Canada. You need to, you create an environment for people to work even harder or smarter, instead of like holding other people's back. Other people running really fast, instead of like you run faster than them and you want to grab them by legs, saying like you don't go that fast. You need to make sure you go faster. That's supposed to be the better way.
But they will, from what I hear, they will let China grow, but under their own terms. And the reason why they have Canada's this Indo-Pacific strategy is because,
again, I don't think nobody gonna pay attention to Canada's strategy. we need a tiny thing on the map. People without magnifying glass, you cannot see Canada on the political power map.
But they're trying to capitalize on the fact that this place is going to be the economic hub of the world. Because right now in Asian Pacific, there's how many countries they're part of the G20? You have Japan, South Korea.
I think should be there. South Korea very strong.
Yeah, but it's not in the G20, right?
It should be. I think it must be.
It must be. Yeah. Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore, Malaysia, all those countries, they're economically good. If you go there, you don't feel like you're in a third world country, but it's still developing, and it's still emerging, it's still developing. And you have Vietnam, you have Laos, and you have Cambodia, and Myanmar. You have problem over there, but
that's a big problem.
But
it looks like it.
But they are catching up also the same way that Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, they're big now, and they're catching up. So it's always a question about making money. It's just being there, put some billions there.
I think it's the cost of labor is very low. That's why one of the reasons to make profit sometimes.
And one of the I read, it's in English, but if I had full Mandarin, I would be able to read the official paper of China. But I know that China 2025 strategy is.
Oh yeah, there's it's called a Made in China 2025.
Yeah, exactly. It's to transfer the low level supply chain.
Yeah, to the high end. Yeah.
And then and in China we make high end. We have
high end. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's I'm aware of all this kind of stuff. Pretty good, man. You know a lot of stuff. And if you read all Chinese, that means you have more access to a lot of information. You could be expert on the international relationship.
Yeah, I think I want to be.
I guess next 3 years, I'm gonna see your face on CNN.
I don't like to be on the media.
So have your own Twitter account.
And spread misinformation?
Not necessarily, but you can have a lot of followers. Seriously, if you speak French, English, Chinese, you write those kind of tweets every day. Seriously, you're gonna be a big guy there. You have a lot of followers.
But I would rather work in business consulting. You know what? Because if everybody's putting billions in the region, that means a lot of companies they want to invest over there.
But then I guess you have to have connections.
You build connection through academic connection. You go to every business seminar. You talk to a lot of people. You tell them you know the region, you know the language, and then you go there. Like you study maybe.
If you go back to my YouTube channel, Eat with the Owner, you see 14 episodes or some episode. There's a guy, a French guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's very popular in China.
Mm.
He's the guest on the 14th
or
15th episode.
Okay.
He's still active. He's going to CCTV, the biggest channel in China, every day.
Every day.
Because they speak Arabic.
He's a French person.
Yeah, he's a French. Yeah,
he's
法国人. But he's good at English, Mandarin, and Arabic, and French. So the Middle East crisis, whatever, and then he was talking the CCTV channel, and he was speaking French, the French election, and it was the guest there was the expert. Even today, every day he's you can see.
Yeah. But I think it's a project. I know that you need to have a PhD, and a PhD is I'm still in the end stage of I'm done with bachelor.
If you look at the episode, he told his own story. Without he even did not have a bachelor degree. He got the PhD. He got the doctorate degree in China. Yeah, he told.
He got the PhD in China.
Yeah.
Okay.
He told you how in the video.
Okay.
so he's a big shot. He make a lot of money.
Okay.
And before
you interviewed him here.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Eat with the Owner.
Okay.
Because right before the pandemic, he left China. He was popular in China.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote books and giving speeches in the universities, and appearing in the biggest TV channels, debating or the as a guest, like analyst or the political commentators on the big stage, biggest channel.
Yeah.
So right before the pandemic, he was on vacation, and they had lockout because after that pandemic, there was lockdown. There's no international travels. So he was locked out. So that's why I ended up in Montreal. He came to the show.
Okay.
He came to the Eat with the Owner, told all the crazy stories. And even before the pandemic, he made a lot of money. So his apartment he rent, very, very expensive. The number he said, the monthly rent was
here or
in Beijing.
Beijing.
Yeah. But then last year when the travel restriction was loosened up, 2021 in China, the COVID was controlled relatively well. So he went back in and still enjoy the life there. He was still very popular today. I saw his Instagram or his probably Instagram. He posts a lot, and WeChat, and he's doing all kinds of shows.
Okay.
So he's a foreign face, and he's speaking good Mandarin and French, English, and he said in the show if his parents from Morocco or some Morocco or some like Middle East. So his face, you tell, is not Caucasian. But he said if he's Caucasian, he will be much better. The chance much better.
Yeah. So I don't know why. That's one aspect that I dislike, and the greater Asia. But I think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, it is kind of it's kind of, if you have like a Caucasian face, it's way better than even Asian face, like the black face, than like Indian face, than the other face. But like still, you're a foreigner. You kind of, as long as you have good Mandarin or something, you will live really well. You get more opportunities than most folks. Right?
Oh yeah, of course. That's one of the key aspects.
Yeah, exactly. You speak Mandarin, you get knowledge outside, and you kind of you can be on the TV and then kind of expert, because you have foreign face. So it's gives a little bit of authority, Or think like, oh, this guy must be from Western world, He's from outside. So he's talking about politics here or there, so must be, a little bit more true.
But like you were saying that a country should not like stop the growth of another country. There's a myth. The Thucydides trap.
What is that Thucydides trap?
Sparta and Athens.
Okay.
Athens was growing economically.
Yeah. So that's 300 things coming from there, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then
300 Spartans, they were defending against Persians, right? The Persians were invading them.
Yeah, they invaded Athens because they were scared that they were like growing too much, and they will eventually take over all global trade, and then eventually take over Sparta. So that's the trap that the U.S. and China could be in. And we're seeing the first thing is the trade war, putting tariffs.
What do you think of the trade war?
It's just it didn't do anything.
It started 2018, right?
2018, when Trump came in, he said we're going to put tariffs on everything but it didn't do anything. And then the second step is to ban student, ban investment, and then the chip. We stop selling chips to China to kill their manufacturing and the industrial complex. And then the next way is going to be the next step. We saw with Russia that the only way to kill Russia's economy, even though they're still fighting, is to remove them from the SWIFT system to kill their economy. But the US cannot do that to China. They cannot do that.
China is way too big.
Because the thing is that we saw with the pandemic that most of the goods that we were buying, like the mask and everything, it came over there. So, and still a lot of our products, not just clothes. This clothes is made in Vietnam. It's essential. It's made in Vietnam right now.
Yeah, a lot of things you see from Vietnam. Vietnam's economy must be
you pay that
hot.
Yeah, you pay that $100 here. You think it's from China, but no, it's from Vietnam because supply chain changed. Right now, it's this watch.
Electronic,
the high-end electronic is entering.
Yeah.
But if you and we consume all these things right now. The TV, everything we have is high-end.
But
products.
we consume what we produce.
Yeah.
What do we produce?
Yeah, we consume what we produce. Yeah.
No, it's made overseas. But what do we produce?
What do we produce?
We just consume. We don't produce.
In terms of electronic, like if we don't produce these things. We don't.
But what do we produce? Look, that's why I'm saying, like, what is our Indo-Pacific policy strategy? If we don't produce anything, what is our power?
I think
where's our power coming from?
They're going to export some of the key things that maybe they might consume. But
maple syrup?
No, not just maple syrup. But I read the road policy, and the thing is to engage more to attract international students, send investments, bolster investment, just dumping up billions and dollars in infrastructure to build infrastructure in the country. Basically, just take our money and send it there, invest.
Do we have a lot of money?
Canada has a lot of assets. They have a lot. Canada can send a lot of money, and then not as much as the U.S. like trillions and trillions, but
I understand U.S. It's they can send trillions because they can print U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
The only benefit, U.S. is the only country they can print money without consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
Because their consequences will be diluted by everybody in the world.
It's crazy though.
It's crazy. It's really a bad system.
I mean, it's crazy that you can print money without any consequences.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna use it, and you can use that same money
to pay back. Pay the debt, also pay the interest. But if any country, Canada or British or
does the same thing.
Yeah, if they print the money, their value gonna go down.
Yeah.
But that's the risk. They don't print that much money. Yeah. But United States, they can print out US dollars unlimited. Yeah. Because the whole world is running on US dollars.
Yeah. Well, the international system runs on US dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
The dominant currency. Yeah. I mean, and China is one of the largest holder of US currency.
That's why China, they said China is building the direct trade between Chinese currency and other countries like Saudi Arabia. They are buying the crude oil directly, use Chinese currency.
Oh yeah, I heard that story.
To bypass the United States US dollars.
But basically, the only way to do that is Saudi Arabia or other OPEC country stop using the petrodollar system. And use petro yuan. Yeah, and that would bring the value of US dollars so low.
Yeah, exactly.
And even higher if they start using petrodollars.
Or they do their own exchange the currencies directly. They bypass the US dollars, saying like
instead of doing like
to US dollars.
A to B, B to C, they would do like
A to C directly. Okay. But individual countries they will have little bit risk to have their reserve because I have your currency, but if one day your currency was nothing, so I'm losing this reserve, the deposit. Yeah. But that's if you take that risks, you're gonna bypass United States US dollars because you take a little bit risk. Okay, I trust.
That's that's the BRICS system, no?
No.
I mean the BRICS they make an alliance that they were going to keep each other's currency.
No. That's only by names. It's only fancy names because the initials of the 4 countries or 5 countries.
They were supposed to do something like this.
It's just the forum. I think it's nothing else. It's just a forum. But if like the China and the Russia and China and the Saudi Arabia, when they do a lot of this crude oil trade, and then they take a lot of Chinese currency, like for example 10 billion there, but then they're not using it right now. But then if they need to buy your electronics, they can use that like Chinese currency to buy your electronics directly.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no US dollars in the middle.
Yeah, that's
so. But then like China, the China part of Saudi Arabia, they have each other's currency. The only issue is they don't trust each other with the currency because you don't know their currency is that strong or not. Over time, it could be half valued. That's the thing. They want to have their reserve in US dollars to be safe because US dollars can be used to any other country. But if you have only the reserve with one country's currency, you don't have reserve in US dollars. But when you need to buy something from other country, I don't have money.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest.
Yeah. But
I don't think
the trust you build.
I don't think for a country as large as Saudi Arabia, a country as large as China is just not an issue. China is like the largest U.S. currency in the world, and Saudi Arabia is actually selling.
Yeah, exactly.
Petrol.
As long as you trust each other, it's fine. It's doable.
They both have U.S. currency, largest currency.
Yeah. And also, I guess Chinese president is going to visit Saudi Arabia very soon. Okay. Even last time, Joe Biden wants to have a phone call with Saudi Arabia, and the prince, they did not answer his phone. Oh. Last time when the oil price was really high several months ago, so Joe Biden was trying to asked Saudi Arabia to increase the production to bring down the price. They did not take his call. Oh, it's busy. He's on vacation or something like that. You know, the oil is the big thing. You know,
Saudi Arabia is a weird position. They're in bed with the Russians and the Chinese and the Americans
exactly.
at the same time.
Yeah, so if you were them, probably you would play the same cards as well. You know, you play in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of everybody is kind of doing business with me, so it's important, especially the oil price.
Yeah.
The oil price like giving.
And at the same time, they're shifting their economy towards something else because they want to get away from oil. And they're putting like massive investments.
Exactly. The United States, what they are doing right now, the Saudi Arabia won't be happy. You know, you guys want to get rid of the oil. I'm relying on oil for all my money. What are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
If you're green energy, green new energy like solar or all this renewable, they don't want renewable. That means I lose my money. You know, my oil was nothing in 20 years if everybody is on the green energy.
Yeah, building a city in the desert, street desert is crazy. I mean,
but I think I'll continue like learning the language, and eventually I'm being in talk with one of my teachers to see what could be the subject of my master's and what are the areas that I can study here or study abroad. I'm still seeing, but this right now it's time to take a decision.
But do you have any personal financial pressure if you don't work for a few more years, or you kind of well?
No, I need a scholarship. If I stay here, I'm gonna work at the same time. Once I'm done with bachelor, I can, because when you do master research.
Don't you think sometimes that's back to my kind of original question? Your life goal, or sometimes you don't feel the pressure like me myself, I'm gonna say like I'm 40 years old, I need to do certain things, and you are 30, and then after a few years of studying school, you're gonna be 35 or middle 30, and then you kind of get several years to establish your career, you know, and then suddenly you find yourself like 40 years old already, and your family, you're gonna have your family here or there. So do you plan or like?
Yeah, I plan, but it's a weird question. I don't think about right now building a family.
But for me, not only family. For me, I want to rob a bank to get some money or some.
Yeah, you would get the money eventually because.
So you're taking
the time
Zen approach.
It's a little bit like the Zen approach, but more pragmatic approach. Is because when you're done, the master is only 2 years, so 32, and then you start building. At the same time, when you're doing your master, you work in the field.
Okay.
Like you take, because master is only like 3, 4, maximum 5 classes. The last year is research.
Okay.
So you can work or go study abroad, or study Mandarin for 1 year in Taiwan and China, whatever, and then you do your research. But everything is online. So you do your research, you get your information, and then once you're done, you come back and then you work in the field. 33, I understand 33, 34, but you still 10 years.
But this time we have to, you know, make sure we are on the right track, right? You don't change your course.
Oh no! You don't change. You don't change course. Because if you change course, it's gonna
waste a lot of money.
Waste a lot of money, time,
and
wasted opportunity.
So now you already certain.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes. So, I mean, and we live longer also. So,
hey, actually, we probably live 200 years old. A lot of people think average age will be 200 years.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Seriously, they grow everything like animal grow, or that they can cultivate.
You think we can live 200 years?
They have the stem cell, those kind of stuff. You know, the only thing is the clock, right?
Yeah.
Some cells, they reduce the speed of producing those cells. That's the clock switch, and then they can turn on that switch to produce the same amount of cells every day. So that kind of all our cells except the brain, then was the neutrons or whatever there,
The neutrons,
Yeah, except those brain thing and
the neurons,
neurons cells. Every 7 days, all the cells are new in your body. So after 7 days, you are new you. So, and then with the new technology, it's just when we age, it's just some cells they produce less and they lose more, produce less over time. If they can turn some switch to make sure like produce same amount of cells, so you never die, never age. It's all the same thing like cycles.
Would you be a first adopter?
No. But you sometimes you don't want to live forever. That's kind of could be a torture as well.
Oh, okay.
You know, but the technology will be there. Once they decode all these mechanisms, will be very easy for look like the transplant. Everything before was imaginable.
Yeah.
But now it's everything. You know, it's like they know exactly what happened there. It's only right now they can pinpoint what the issue, how to like what should be done, but they don't have the technology to do it. Okay. They know why, what should be done, but they don't know how yet because you cannot go to that level, the micro level.
Okay.
If one day they can tell the cell what to do, and then
they don't have the physical tools
they don't have the.
They have the formula. They have
they understand the theory.
Okay.
You know, but you cannot. You know how the machine works. You just don't have the technology to build that machine. Okay. But then one day, if they get every problem they can fix. It's the cell level. If you can reach the cell level, you lose all the cells every 7 days. Every 7 days, you are new you. So
then I wish I could live up to that point where I can live.
It would be very fast. You will be surprised. Even today's the stem cell, like a lot of people they have injuries, the spine injuries. Right now with the stem cell technology, you don't fix it from outside. They can inject to affect the cell. They're gonna connect.
You call that the nanocells?
I don't know, because there's something teared open, and then they build something bridge. They can naturally regenerate the cell to connect to bridge them. So it's like brand new. It's the same, as good as the old one. So it's the treatment, the medical treatment is totally different now. Okay. A lot of the pain you create, like the operator cannot fix. Now it's the cell. You can automatically to fix whatever. They know what's wrong. The stem cell, everything. Yeah. And then if you have, they don't even need to replace the liver or the kidney. They don't need to replace that. They can repair what's broken, what's like inflammation, that area cells wrong. They can, like when you have blood, have bruise, the bad blood will be pushed out at the end. But the same slow process, they can do that with cells too.
Incredible.
Yeah. The transplant will be the past. They won't need that. Well, that's too much a change. It's macro. Everything goes to the cell level. It just like all the cancers.
That's genomic technology, right?
I guess so.
Okay.
But like, what is cancer? Cancer is like the
production.
Yeah, the production grow too much. Yeah. It's out of control. By the certain areas, it's like I generate 100 cells. You stop.
Then you have to kill those cells with the chemotherapy.
Yeah, but the cancer itself, it's like it grow too many cells, so to have create a problem for that area, because there's when you do the programming, there's a counter. When you go to this counter, reach this counter 100, you stop producing. The cancer is like when you reach 100, the instruction was ignored, so it's keep growing, keep producing. So you produce 200 cells instead of 100, so create problem. So that program having issues with those kind of mechanism. That's all cancers coming from. If you tell them, okay, to fix that, supposed to be stop 100 right now, and if you can tell them fix that information, the instruction, to correct instruction, okay, you have to follow this instruction to 100. This area can only have 100 cells, then all the cancers will disappear. Otherwise, we grow 100, 200, 500, 100. like 1,000. When it reaches 1,000, it's already this big. You dead because the pressure other area, you know. But if you fix that clock issue, the counter issue, that's all the cancer is coming from. You know, it's everything has its own instruction system. Okay, let's do 500 there, 200 here, 300 here. Those are the commands, instruction received, supposed to for all this working together. But somehow, like messed up here or there, messed up. I'm the soldier. I received wrong command, so I keep digging this.
Yeah, keep producing cells until like the system dies.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Anything you want to add? It's being a
we talk a lot, and I really appreciate like you inviting me to the restaurant. The food was really good. I really thank you for the food.
We finished everything.
We talked about different subjects,
and
language,
we have politics too.
I try to avoid talking
we
politics.
Don't have controversial, right?
No. I mean, how do you personally? How do you think that? What do you think is my political spectrum? Like more on the left, more on the right?
Probably a little bit the middle to a little bit right.
Okay.
Because like I don't know. Because like all the people on the left I know, they tend to trust the media 100%.
100%.
Yeah, if more people, some people once they say like they want to verify or seek out information, that's probably in the middle and a little bit on the right side.
Okay.
Because like recently, like in the last 10, 20 years, all the narratives by the mainstream media, right? That would be on a little bit left, right?
Yeah. And you're in the middle, right?
I don't know. I was left, and then I don't know, because I came here like I like reading I learned English by reading CNN website and watching CNN.
Yeah.
Don Lemon.
Yeah, Don Lemon. Oh yeah.
And then what is the guy?
No, there was a guy called Larry King.
Yeah, Larry King.
Yeah,
And another guy was always the tough guy, always the Anderson Cooper, right? Is
Anderson Cooper. Yeah.
He's a gay, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Anderson Cooper was like big guy. He's still.
Yeah, he's still working, but he's very old. But he's still working.
But one time he was the face of CNN. One time it was right for the last between 10 years around.
He still has his shows, I think.
Anderson Cooper 360. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And Anderson Cooper 360. Yeah.
And there's a lady is Ample. What is that?
Ampur, yeah, something like that. She's Indian, I think. No?
I don't know.
She's a correspondent in London, no?
Yeah.
London, yeah.
Another guy, GPS.
I don't know.
He's an Indian guy. That is a guy.
No.
Hazard.
Zakaria?
Yeah, I don't know. I have issues with
this. But last semester there was a guy correspondent for CNN in Beijing. I don't remember his name, but
there was Selena Wang. It's a lady.
No, this is a guy. I don't know if it's like he's in TV but apparently he's a correspondent and journalist correspondent in Beijing.
Oh, must be tough.
And my teacher knows him.
Okay.
So yeah, he can talk about everything.
Not on the record.
Not on the record. Yeah, not on the record. Yeah, but thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Come back.